Hello, everyone. Welcome to Matthew, John, and Friends Totality Extravaganza. Here I am, of course, at home in Rochester, New York, where we are about to experience totality. How amazing is that? Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to have some really amazing guests on today. We're going to have, what a lineup, Alan Steinfeld, Rick Levine, Adam Apollo, John Burgos, Samantha Toon is a late addition. I feel like I'm forgetting someone. Someone remind me of what my schedule was. If someone else I had on there, Adam Apollo, Rick Levine, John Burgos, Samantha Toon. Oh, Astrologer Babe, of course, Astrologer Babe. Amazing. Welcome everybody. Amazing. So, hi there. Sorry, remind me your first name, Cosmic Novia Seraph. I know we met in LA. Just remind me your first name. Sorry. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome Nina. I recognize that name. And welcome everyone else. So, how are we feeling? Coco, yes, thank you. Welcome, Coco. Amazing. So, type in, let me know where you're joining from around the world. As some of you, I think, are already maybe starting to experience the partial eclipse. Here are partial eclipses starting in just a few minutes at 2:07 Eastern Daylight Time. Toronto. Okay, welcome, Toronto. Amazing. So, you guys are going to I don't think you get totality in Toronto, right? I think you're going to get almost totality, right? Wow, Naidu Kushal from India. Welcome. So, in India, what is the overall sentiment in regards to the eclipse? Because I know in Hinduism, solar eclipses are seen as a kind of a negative thing, right? A bad omen, and there's a puja after to clear out the negative energy, right? Very different beliefs, obviously, in the West around eclipses. We kind of we treat it like a music festival or a sporting event where we just want to see it, right? That's the Western cultural mentality, right? You're gonna get totality in Memphis. Is that true, Coco? Maryland, Northeastern PA, see about 90% of it. Welcome, Astrologer Babe. Yeah, in India, we shouldn't go out at all so that we don't get attached negative energy, so we stay at home. Yeah, that's what I thought. And even the Indians that live in the U.S., have a similar sentiment in regards to the eclipse, where it's not viewed as a fun thing. Like here, like Rochester, they were expecting 500,000 people to come, today to experience totality, right? It's like a tourist attraction, and in India, it's very much the opposite. Aloha, Astrologer Babe. You're coming in from Hawaii, right? Amazing. What's and we'll have you on later, of course. But what's the sentiment in Hawaii around the eclipse? I know you guys are far from any path of totality, right? Welcome, Marcy Hitchcock. I recognize that name. And so let me know what's it like in your community. Unfortunately, as you can see, it's cloudy here, and it's not going to clear. It's really overcast, so there's really even no point. I don't even have the eclipse glasses out because there's no sun to be seen. So we're going to get the 3 minutes of darkness. It's like when you lose your virginity, you kind of anticipate it for like months on end, and then it's over in 2 minutes, right? That's kind of what today is going to be like. Welcome, Alyssa Rushton. Welcome. Alyssa, how's things in Hawaii? And actually, Alyssa, if you want to pop on, feel free. Just hit the request to join live. I'm happy to have you on. So yeah, it's going to be over like that, and there's not much, before and after for us to really experience, unfortunately. Coke said it was cloudy until I sat outside and the beaming sun energy started coming through. Yeah, it's. I wonder. I know they had that. They're having that big festival going on in Texas. I wonder if they have sun there. Got my smoothie I'm working on. Partly cloudy. Okay, partly cloudy. Alyssa, you want to pop on? I'd love to have you. You can be the impromptu guest before Alan Steinfeld comes on at 2:15. Let me see how I can. If you, Alyssa, if you want to, and if you're not, just type in if you're not available to join. But if you want to, I'm happy to have you on. Love to hear your thoughts on the eclipse. Just hit request to join live. Here, let me invite you. Oh, no worries, no worries. Okay, no, then forget about the request. Yeah, no worries, no worries. Just watch. um, if actually, and if you have time later, let me know. Pop on around 5:50, right around 5:15 Eastern time. I can probably pop you on if you're available then. If not, don't worry about it. Well, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So, yes, cloudy here in Rochester, but still excited about totality. This is a once in a lifetime experience. Hope you can see, going along with the themes of, as I said, in the West, we treat it like a tourist attraction, right? In India, it's a completely different thing, right? But here's my Eclipse shirt, right? The Earth getting the selfie with the sun and the moon. I think this is the most American possible shirt, as far as celebrating the eclipse, right? So, hope you guys like my shirt. Yes, there's a lot of special things about this eclipse. First of all, the astrology of it, right? It's conjunct Chiron in Aries, right? So this is a really intense, like, evolutionary energy, but as individuals, right? The last solar eclipse or lunar eclipse was in Libra, right? That was back at the end of March. And the last 2 weeks have been about navigating relationships. Well, now we shift into the Aries energy, right? And the Aries energy is about, oh boy, pushing forward as individuals, right? It's about, okay, we are whatever we need to do to evolve as individuals, right? And it's especially, it's a very honest, very truthful type energy, right? People are not afraid to speak their truths at this time. It's a throat chakra type energy, which is really good. It can go to the other side, right? It can be a bit of a violent energy. I had this past weekend. I had an amazing time at the Heart of Oneness Holistic Expo in New Jersey, and there was a very humorous, kind of not humorous at the time, but looking back, humorous moment on the Saturday where all of a sudden there was just yelling, and like everyone's looking around like what's going on, right? And then I was in the middle of a reading at my booth, and then I heard the story that there was an actual fight like at a holistic expo. There was a fight because someone thought that the CBD oil they were being sold was just olive oil, right? First, the funniest thing about it to me is that this could only ever happen in New Jersey. No nowhere else in the world could you have a fight at a holistic expo other than New Jersey. So that was my first takeaway from it. And also, just the Aries energy is very intense, right? So people are just not afraid to speak their truth. The guy obviously thought he was getting ripped off, and he was not afraid to make everyone aware of it so he can get his money back, right? So it's that type of really intense Aries energy going on right now. It so Nate, let me read this question. So, how were ancient Egypt, Atlantis, or Lemurians react to eclipse seasons? What would these times do, share, if you know about this? Oh, what a great question. What a great question. All I can do, I don't know historically from a intellectual left brain side, but all I can do is I can tell you my intuitive receiving on that is that in Lemuria, that the eclipses would, when an eclipse would happen, I get a vision of hundreds of or thousands of people like in a community gathering together in circles in silence. They would experience the eclipse passing in silence, which actually I like how today at the Texas eclipse celebration they are doing a silent meditation for the 10 minutes of totality, and I'll be in silence as well during the totality here as much as I can, um, because traditionally, of course, in India, like we've been talking about, they're viewed as negative events, right? But regardless, from indigenous cultures to other, ancient cultures around the planet, generally the eclipses are not a time to do anything. They're not a time to do rituals. They're not a time to do, intention setting. They're not a time to look forward. They're a time to simply just let the eclipse pass, because whether one views it as a negative event for the body or for the or for the energy field, or just as during the eclipse, when the sun and the moon are passing, and we're what time is it? Is it after 2? Because I only have one phone here. I would imagine it feels like it's about to get started here, and I've always experienced when the sun and moon start to cross like that, it's as if a portal is opened, and there's a very discordant energy, a very unsettled, discordant energy to it, right? It's as if reality just gets kind of unplugged, like not everything's plugged in, for a moment or for an hour or two, and it's just a time to let it pass. Like, we're going to be here chatting, just making each other laugh and all that, and that's great, but it's not a time to do rituals. It's not a time to do magic. It's not a time to do anything but just kind of honor it. So I love the fact that at the Texas eclipse, for example, they're 1:58. Okay, yeah, so 10 minutes from now. So I love the fact that the Texas eclipse today, they are honoring it with silence. Now, yeah, but my vision is that in ancient Lemuria, they would gather in giant circles and just in silence honor what was happening. In Atlantis, my intuitive sense is that they would use the time for the dark beings in Atlantis would use the time for ritual magic, which I'm sure is happening today, and like people, point to the fact that CERN is doing some experiments today, and I'm sure the dark occult, Illuminati is doing dark rituals during the totality, during the darkness time. Absolutely, because it can be harnessed for that for sure. But so in Atlantis, it probably was more of a mix of whether it was light beings in Atlantis or the darker side of Atlantis, because Atlantis really did have quite a dark side. Ancient Egypt, right? Ancient Egypt, my sense, and I have no proof for this, and I'd love if anyone does have historical knowledge of eclipses. My sense in ancient Egypt was they pretty much stayed inside. That like in India, that they just allowed it to pass and they didn't see it as a good omen to be outside during it. But let me know if anyone has any more left-brained intuitive information. Welcome, Kim. I know you. Welcome, Michelle. Thanks for joining. So we're at one. So we're right around 2:00 Eastern. Alan Steinfeld's going to join in about 15 minutes here. And let's see. Amazing. We got a great crowd. Yeah. Whatever questions you have, let us know. Whatever you want me to answer, I'm happy to. I love the questions so far. And again, if you're just popping on, let us know where in the world you're experiencing this eclipse. You're welcome, Nadu. You're welcome. I really appreciate your questions. Amazing. Let us know where in the world you're experiencing this eclipse. I am in Rochester, New York. Arto Matt NM. I assume you're in New Mexico? NM? I got it right. Wonderful. So out west, you guys aren't getting a whole lot. Although, I mean, it's cloud. Although it's kind of the catch-22 because we're in totality here, but it's completely cloudy, and we're not going to really see a whole lot. So I don't even have the eclipse glasses out. It's kind of disappointing. But this time of year, you're really lucky if you get a sunny day. And it's funny because they said like they were expecting up to 500,000 people to come to Rochester, and unfortunately they all got clouds. Okay, how long will it last for, and will it impact as physically as it does? So totality itself is only going to last for about 3 minutes. As I said, it's like losing your virginity. You anticipate it for months, and then it's over like that, right? So it's the totality itself is very short. The entire the partial part. So here begins at 2:07 Eastern Daylight Time, and that'll go until about 4:20, I believe, Eastern Daylight Time. So it's about 2.5 hours of when the sun and the moon are actually passing, right? Cloudy here. How does it impact the physical? Let's talk about that, the physical vessel, right? So let us know if you've been feeling like weird symptoms. I certainly have. I've been feeling like real, like heavy, really heavy, been ungrounded, kind of off, like, and almost everyone I've talked to has been feeling that way at the Expo in New Jersey. Like everyone was feeling a bit weird, emotional, like unsettled emotions, right? So, and this happens around every eclipse, but I would say because this is a total, it's it's more, and because it's an Aries, that effect on the physical vessel is more, because Aries is ruled by Mars, and Mars is the physical vessel, right? Um, Cloudy here too. Okay, question. Was the moon that we see now? Oh, what a great question! Wow, you're hitting the best questions they do today. Amazing. Okay, was the moon that we see now the same in ancient Lemuria or Atlantis or Egypt? Ah, what a great question. Oh my God. A lot of people think the moon is an artificial satellite, right? A lot of people think the moon wasn't there in ancient times. My my sense is that there, from what I've received, is that there was still the moon as it is now in Egypt. Okay, and the Egyptian lore certainly includes the moon, and also in Lemuria and Atlantis. Does that mean there wasn't a time where there wasn't a moon? No. I am very open, and because there are ancient cultures that do speak of a time before the moon. I just don't think it was all that recent. If the moon was in fact placed as an artificial satellite, I don't think it was as recent as 13,000 years ago, which was the time of Atlantis and Lemuria. I think it was much longer ago, if that was the case. That's a really great question, though. Amazing. Karen, where are you located? Cloudy and rainy as well. Feeling so tired. Feeling heavy. Oh, amazing. Klotz, or Kim Klotz, you're in the path in Austin. Very cloudy, really super lightheaded. Yeah. Everyone's feeling weird. Just FYI, it's nothing to be afraid of. Like, the do please just hear me. Don't listen to any fear porn out there about this eclipse. We have eclipses every year. We have 4 to 6 eclipses every year. Okay, and we had a total solar eclipse back in 2017. Yes, these total solar eclipses are very impactful to the grid. The codes that are being downloaded during these eclipses are absolutely, they're reshaping our future, but they're reshaping the future based on our, as a collective, as a human collective, what the oversoul of humanity is what our plan is. just as we have an individual life plan, the oversoul of all of humanity has its own life plan. And these eclipses are just they're just marking points in the calendars, in the timeline or the calendar, so to speak, of when things will, okay, now it's like a new, every eclipse like this, major eclipse, is a new doorway. It's like, okay, now we open the new door and it's the next stage. Now we open the new door and it's the next stage. There's nothing to be afraid of. And there's, it's so natural around these eclipses to feel, a heaviness, because it's a ton of energy. There's a ton of codes. There's a ton of energy that are trying to be integrated into us all at once. And so as the light workers, yeah, we're going to feel heavy. We're going to feel tired. We're going to have sleeping issues. But trust me, there's absolutely nothing to be afraid of. Nothing to be afraid of. And I'm totally embracing being out here under it, experiencing totality. Someone asked me in New Jersey, a lot of people are asking me in New Jersey this weekend, what to do during the eclipse, what to expect during the eclipse, right? And, my reminder to people, to light workers, is that we are co-creators. We are co-creators of reality, right? If one wants to have a fearful experience of the eclipse, you can. But why, right? Why? If why? There's no point to that I can see. Why not have a beautiful experience of the eclipse? Appreciate the majesty of nature. So once in a lifetime, or twice in a lifetime, maybe experience, right, of the majesty of the natural world, and use the time, whether in silence or just in celebration, to emit positive energy into the grid, knowing that absolutely, yes, during this eclipse time, there's going to be dark forces that will be using this portal to inject dark energy into the grids. Absolutely. So we got to counter that with light energy, right? But the worst, people were asking me, like, "Oh, what's going to happen tomorrow?" I'm like, nothing, nothing, nothing. It's gonna be a great experience, and just, use it use it as a conscious light worker. Tired, feeling drained and heavy, tired. Yeah, yeah, everybody. But it's nothing to be afraid of. If the moon is not there, yeah. Sorry if you misunderstood me, Nadu. I meant the moon was there in Lemurian Atlantis. What I mean was that if there was a time, and thank you for asking so I could clarify, if there was a time before the moon, it was before Lemuria and Atlantis. That's what I mean. Are my birdies going to get quiet? I don't know. That'll be interesting. I have no idea what to expect, but I'm very excited because I've never experienced this. And I have heard people say that, yeah, the birds get quiet. Don't let the rear fear take the wheel and steer. Of course, absolutely. Absolutely. Ready, everyone sidestep into the new timeline. Hell yeah. We are like the moon that reflects the sunlight during darkness or night. In eclipse, we humans are like moon reflecting the light of our soul. Oh, I love this. Oh, I got to read this again to everyone. Nadu, you are amazing. We are like the moon. We are like the moon that reflects the sunlight during darkness or night. In an eclipse, we humans are like moon reflecting the light of our soul or spirit. Oh, I love that. So no need to fear. Exactly. Remember, we're all pieces. We're all pieces here. And we're all co-creators with spirit, with God, with universe, with whatever term you want to use, right? So we're the ones emitting energy through us as well. So you can view it as being a victim of what's happening and what dark beings are doing, or you can view it as an opportunity to do what we want to do, right? And I'm gonna, during the totality, I'm gonna be probably saying, uh, probably my mantra will be 111. This, and I'll teach you guys this, okay? This was downloaded from Spirit for me, about probably a year ago. Is just the mantra of 1111111111111111111, and for me it becomes a song the more I say it. 11111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111111are the ascension codes. The ones are the ascension codes, which is why when we see 1111 or 111 on the clock, or you're driving around, you see 11111 on a license plate or an address or whatever, that's tapping us into the ascension code of the 11111111111. right? So that's like during the actual totality, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be chanting as a kind of silent in silence, but quietly chanting that 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. And anytime you feel like you want to do conscious grid work, that's a great way to do conscious grid work. Is 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. Okay, Michelle Anderson. Oh my God, amazing to see you. Sunshine and beautiful in California, holding joyful open heart for a peaceful future. Absolutely. Thank you. Oh my God, give Alan a hug. I will try through the phone. He's not going to actually be here with me. I don't even know where he is. I don't know if he's in New York or West Coast right now. We'll find out in about, what, 5 minutes, sir? Michelle, I cannot wait to see you at Disclosure Fest in Castaic Lake in June. I'm so excited for that. Welcome. Welcome, Jeremy. Jeremy, did we meet at Conscious Life, or I know we met on here. Totality in Mazatlan. Oh, interesting. Remind me where Mazatlan is. That Mexico, right? Like reading the label on Dr. Bronner's soap bottle. One love, all love. Yeah. All right. Who here is has been using Dr. Bronner's forever, right? I've always used Dr. Bronner's, and I always love reading the label. It's not, to me, there's a lot of run-on sentences. I'm not sure Mr. Bronner is a Virgo. Probably not. He's probably a Pisces. But I love the message. Ghosts of New York. Remind me who you are, Ghosts of New York. Have we chatted? Nadu, wow, that sounds like a UFO sound. I think, the 1111. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I love, for me, the faster I chant it, it does sound like this, like almost like an extraterrestrial sound. Exactly. 1111. Okay, that means it must be 211. 1111. Oh, blessings. 1111 on the West Coast. 1111 on the West Coast. Amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So that means Alan's going to be Alan Steinfeld, one of my favorite peoples in the world. He's going to be joining us in 4 minutes. That means he's coming on at 2:15. John Burgos from Beyond the Ordinary Show will be on at 2:30. And then after that, I'm going to take a break from guests and just chat. And then for the eclipse itself, I want to enjoy it. I don't want to just be chatting. So I'm just going to change the phone just so you guys can see the sky. But I'm going to kind of enjoy it in silence. And then I'll come back on, probably have some lunch, and I'll come back on later with more guests. But we're going to be on for a full 4 hours today, or close to 4 hours. So thank you guys for joining. And feel free to pop in and pop out. And there's lots of times for questions, maybe even time for readings later, if we have the chance. Yes, Mazatlan, Mexico. Exactly, Mazatlan, Mexico. So one thing, this eclipse conjunct Chiron is so interesting and really makes it a very intense experience, doesn't it? Right, where because Chiron is the wounded healer. It's the home of both our deepest wounds and our highest possibilities as spiritual healers, as spiritual leaders. Chiron is very dichotomous, right? It's the darkest of the dark within us that is stored as trauma, but when that trauma is alchemized, it creates the highest possible versions of self, right? It creates the healer self. And so this eclipse is activating Chiron because it's right on Chiron and Aries. And we're being directed very intensely, very strongly towards our highest possible purpose, right? As healers, spiritual leaders, light workers, etc. All right, Alan. There, Alan.
Hey, how
Oh
are
my
you?
God, what are you in a hostage situation?
A hostage? No, I'm
Blink,
just
blink
in a
twice
bedroom.
if you need help.
No, no, I'm good. I'm good. No, continue, continue.
I'm
I'm just
I'm,
li
I'm joking, of course.
Right, right,
How are you, my friend?
right.
Are you okay?
I'm good. I'm out at the beach, so I just saw a partial eclipse out here.
You
So
did.
that was
Oh,
fun.
amazing,
Yeah, yeah,
amazing. So where are you
yeah.
located?
In Santa Barbara
Oh, okay.
right
So you're
now.
out west. So you're out west. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
amazing,
yeah, yeah.
amazing.
All
Well,
right.
I appreciate you coming
Yeah, I'm just
on.
gonna listen. I'm just gonna listen for a while,
Okay. Um,
and then yeah, if you want me to comment, let me know.
sure. Okay. Well, while I have you, because I'm also gonna have John Burgos on in a few minutes, but what's your overall vibe about this eclipse? What are you thinking?
Well, I've been in a full eclipse actually a couple of times, and the energy is very disorientating. But a partial eclipse felt better than a full eclipse. I recommend not being out at when the sun is completely black because the energies are very distorting. But a partial eclipse actually felt pretty good.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna be out here. I'm excited about it. You know, for me, I think it's all the way that you look at it and the way that you experience it. But I understand what you're saying.
Well,
Um,
for me, that was
yeah,
my
yeah,
personal experience. It kind of gave me a headache.
yeah.
A full-on eclipse,
It is
a blood moon
it is
eclipse.
very intense. That's for darn sure. It is very
It
intense.
is. It is.
Um,
It is.
and you know, this one is especially intense because of the Aries energy of it, right? It's
Oh,
Aries,
okay.
it's Chiron in Aries, right? So this is an especially emotionally intense and emotionally volatile one, right? And also, you know, people are
Yeah.
experiencing in a special, especially a very strong, um, a very strong effect on the body, right? Because Aries is ruled by Mars, which is the physical body, right?
Right.
Um,
Right.
so yeah,
Right.
this is an especially intense one, but I understand what you're saying, and to each their own. You know, I understand. We were talking earlier on this live about how in India, you know, that's exactly how they kind of view the eclipse as, you know, one should avoid it, right? Especially the totality. For me, I look at it as, you know, how do you utilize it, and if you come from a place of joy and oneness and unity, and you know, implement, you know, intending to put, you know, light codes out into the grid, then to me it's a beautiful experience. So I think it's all how you look at it, personally.
Yeah. It might be a beautiful experience if you intend it, but just feel into it without projecting your kind of prejudice in a sense on it. Just feel what it feels like. That's how astrology was developed. Someone was clear enough to pick up the energies of creation without their imposing a kind of condition on it, and then things develop from there. So anyway, that's just my
No, I
suggestion.
understand, and that I understand that perspective, and at the same time, astrology is a template, a work. It's like a workbench with the planets and the signs are on the workbench, and it also,
Mhm.
they're there for us to create with, and that's why every astrological aspect and every occurrence has and both aspects are true. I'm not discounting what you're saying, but there's
No,
the receiving
no, I
aspect,
know what you're saying too.
there's the
Yeah,
receiving
yeah.
aspect, and then there's the I'm gonna move around with my as a conscious co-creator, and both are meld into kind of reality, right?
Exactly.
So
Well, I'm interested in what you have to say, so
amazing.
I'm just,
All right,
yeah,
Alan.
no,
So I
I'm
really
just,
appreciate having you on. Am I gonna see you at Disclosure Fest?
uh, I know about Disclosure Fest, but I'm going to be at Contact in the Desert. Are you going to be
Okay.
there?
I will not be there, but I'll be at Disclosure Fest. So hopefully our paths will cross.
Maybe I'll
If
be
not,
there. All right, I'll listen in and I'll jump in if I care to say
all
anything.
right, brother.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring on John Burgos. I really
All right.
appreciate
Well,
and
I'll
love
say
you,
hello to
Alan.
John for a second.
Thank you so much.
I could say hello to John. I'll say hello to John for a
Absolutely.
second.
If it'll let us have three on at once, I've never done this before.
Oh, if
Well,
not, I'll just get it. Oh,
well,
that's
let's see.
fine.
Let's see. Yeah, look, it works. Oh,
Oh,
John, you're
oh,
there. We go.
Sideways.
There we
There
go.
we go.
Okay.
hey, John.
Hey, Alan, good to see you.
All right, John
You look
Burgos. How are
you look
you?
a lot more. You're looking good. You look more cleaned up since I saw you last.
I took a
You
shower. It's awesome.
I've never.
Oh,
Okay, wait, hold on. I can't even imagine that. I've never not seen John
so,
looking like a supermodel in my life.
all right.
Oh my God.
All
It's the
right.
eclipse energy. They have that effect on me.
Yeah,
It's good to see you.
They,
apparently.
all right. I'll
Amazing. John, how
talk to
are
you
you?
guys.
And you're in Hawaii, right?
I'm in Hawaii, yeah.
Amazing. So, what's the vibe there? How you feeling about this? I'm in Rochester. We're in partial eclipse right now, but it's cloudy, so there's nothing to see.
It's chill over here. You know, we make of these energies what they are, what relationship we have with them, right?
Exactly, and that's been what I've been saying. And I completely understand like what Alan was saying as well, because there is that aspect to it. It affects the entire collective. But at
Right.
the same time, yeah, we make of it what we will, right?
Well, if it's raining outside, we get the umbrella. We put on,
Right.
you know, the shoes to get wet, and we prepare and we navigate with how it's informing us.
Right.
So for me, my information this morning is I woke up tired. It's like I was so groggy, I
Everyone
couldn't get up, really
has been
slow,
so tired. Oh my God.
right?
Everyone has been tired.
You know, the birds aren't singing like they typically are. It's more quiet. It's like, listen,
Interesting. People were asking me about that, and I hear them, but they are getting quieter as we're approaching totality. We're about 30 minutes from totality right now, or no, 50 minutes from totality. They're getting quieter. It's very
no.
odd.
At this time in the morning, here outside of my house, it's like an aviary, typically, like birds going off everywhere. And it's, if we just get quiet for a second, there's nothing. There's nothing, which is
And it is.
fascinating to
I'm
me.
starting to experience that here. And every eclipse I've ever, I mean, tuned into since I've woken up. There's a very strange, like Alan was saying, there's a very strange discordant energy during. It's like as if like reality gets unhooked, right?
Mm.
It's like things are. It's like a soundboard at a concert, and just not everything's plugged in correctly during it. And I'm feeling that right now as we're in the partial solar eclipse time here. It gets quiet, and it's a very odd, it's a strange vibe, like Alan was saying. It's a
Mm.
very strange experience, right? It's interesting. I love it though. I'm excited. I just like experiencing anything different, that life could bring.
Well, and I think that's part of the why it's strange for us in different ways because it's not something that we're typically accustomed to. So, as we're crossing, and I was feeling the energies that have been building up through the eclipse and Mercury retrograde. If we want to look at astrology from my perspective, which I'm no expert, definitely not like you, but my personal experience is I definitely have felt emotional waves, physical waves in different form. I've been feeling that it feels like we're closing one door and opening another.
Yeah.
And for me, it's not like, oh my God, I feel so tired and I don't know what to do. And I don't know why I'm emotional about this or being triggered about this thing. I'm of the understanding that something within me is able to access or have relationship with something that wasn't as conscious before. And
Yeah.
and and because of that, it feels like a new door is opening. What
Yeah.
relationship am I choosing to have with those experiences? Am I listening to my body? Am I pausing instead of projecting whatever triggers coming out onto the world? Am I going within, which is part of this kind of totality of centering within ourselves?
hmm
And what are we learning and expanding there within ourselves? That
Yeah.
we're having a relationship with this in order to grow, in order to expand, and walk into new territory that we're pioneering into. We all are, and so this is. I think it's remarkable.
Absolutely. I agree and vibe with everything you're saying. That's been my experience as well, tuning into the energies of this. It's a door that is both closing and opening. It's like
Yeah.
a two doors at once. And so we're having to wrap up very important chapters. A lot of people have been having to negotiate potentially wrapping up chapters in relationships, especially romantic relationships, family relationships, just chapters closing, whether it means the relationship itself completely ending, or just it means a new chapter in it. And at the same time, there's this window opening we're, especially with Chiron being conjunct this eclipse, we're being really pushed, just this tremendous push from the universe, right, to step into who we're meant to become on this planet. And this is the essence of the Aries Libra axis that we're negotiating with this, right? It's about healing it's healing our relationships with those around us that are support systems, breaking away from those that are draining us, right? And then stepping into our highest potential reality as individuals, which is Aries.
Well, and if everything is a mirror for us, if we want to use those terms, then yeah, where are we stepping away from the relationship within ourselves that doesn't serve us anymore? Where are we deciding to move forward into an expanded state that's really our birthright, that we're learning how to get comfortable navigating it without the tendrils to the expectations of how things are supposed to be, but in a creative way that allows us to be in such a beautiful state of flow of creation organically. We're moving away from having to control as much as we did for survival. And if we do use mechanisms for control, they're more structures to help us build where our heart's leading us to. And so we're getting so much more refined in the way that we create and why we create and how we create.
I love that. It's such a throat chakra energy as well.
Yeah.
With Mercury being retrograde in Aries, right? It's such a truthful energy. I was sharing that earlier on this show, that, you know, how my experience, like I was at this expo in New Jersey, and just everyone was really honest and truthful. And, you know, that's Jersey anyways, but it was really to the extreme where, like, people were just, you know, not mincing words. And that's important at this time, more important than ever before, that we're completely honest with ourselves, with our relationships, with whatever in our lives is not working. If something's not working at work for you, you know, someone's not treating you the right way, right? If you've got to get honest about your physical body, if you've got to get honest about your financial situation, honesty with the self and with others.
What would you suggest to people to navigate like the next few hours as we're
Well,
right now? Yes.
that's a great question. You know, and I talked a little bit about that before you came on. Actually, in just a few minutes after, you know, your wonderful chat with us here, I'm going to kind of go into my meditative state, put on the eclipse glasses, try to find the sun a little bit in the clouds here. And then during the totality itself, I'm going to be in reverence and silence. And I love that, for example, the Texas Eclipse Festival with I Unify, they're doing 10 minutes of silent meditation with everyone there. And there's like thousands of people there, right? My suggestion for everyone, if you're in the path of totality, or just when the eclipse really is the max for you, is to be in silence and be in reverence. If you want to be outside, be outside. If you want to be inside, be inside. I'll be outside. But use it because we know, or I know at least, that there are absolutely dark forces that are going to harness this energy and are in this moment to do dark magic for the planet. So we are conscious co-creators, and as light workers, let's imprint the grid with light, okay, during this totality time. So for me, I'm going to be in meditation, and I'm going to be implanting the 1111111 code of ascension to the grid. And I'm just going to see the light going throughout the grid during this totality.
Oh, amazing. I have a suggestion for everybody. It's something that I've been working with. And first of all, you know, with the light and the dark energies, if you will, it's, for me, I've really been on a journey for quite a few years, but it's been really landing and really being an awareness of where that darkness within me is rising in different ways.
Yeah.
It's a reclamation of power, but it's also letting go of judgment of anywhere where I would condemn myself or another. And there's an engendering of peacefulness and of freedom that is coming through that. And so as we get to this point of totality, where can we be in the totality, in the balance of our light and our darkness, to really harness it as a human being? Where can we be in the balance of the masculine and the feminine?
Yeah.
As we're merging and
soul and Luna, right? The masculine and the feminine, yeah.
And then where can we during that point of totality, as we center in and we get to that nexus point on that cross, if you will, where can we just be in peace, just in peace and in complete stillness? Not to try to get anywhere, not to try to do anything, but just to listen to the stillness, if you will. Listen to the no thingness within us, and just allow that. It's like this, whatever that drop of dew on the flower makes it blossom. It's like let that land within us and be curious as to what's being born there. So whenever I go into the spaces lately, I'll get into a quiet space, and it's not quite a meditation, but it's like that again. It's just quietness, and I like to imagine myself just going in and setting my temple, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So I picture a temple, whatever it may look like for you, and it's my particular personal temple. And I take off my shoes and I walk through the threshold, and I go to the altar and I light the candle.
Mm.
And this is all the meditation: is I
Yeah,
light the candle.
I'm seeing
I'll,
it.
I'll flicker on the incense and I'll let the aroma start going through, and I'll sweep out the space of
Oh,
any dust of the debris
yeah.
that may have come in. I may set some flowers or crystals on the altar. This is all in my mind's eye, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then after I set the space, I'm aware that I'm setting that sacred space for these very special guests to come into my home, to come into this place of reverence within me. And then I get quiet in humility of the invitation that I've put out.
Mm.
And in that stillness and that quietness, in the awareness of who I am asking to be with me, I can't help but to be present, because how could I be anywhere else?
Yeah.
And
Oof.
just being in that for 5, 10, 12, 15 minutes,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just allow it. And then when we finish, just close in gratitude,
Yes.
blow out the
Yes.
incense, blow out the candles, sweep out the temple, bow in gratitude, and just feel how you come back from that. It's such a beautiful state of presence, and I find that by taking the time to set that altar, to be in that space, that there's a relating that becomes more available.
Mm.
If we try to reach out trying to get
Mm.
something, there's more than what we know that is occurring. So let's invite an intelligence in that can help guide us as is appropriate for us.
Man, I was seeing it as you're speaking, and
Mm.
I'm always in such reverence for your flow of words and how they come from through your crown chakra, from whether it's your higher self or whatever you want to call that aspect of you. They're so beautiful, and
Thank you.
I love the way that you articulate and speak, and thank you. And that's such a wonderful exercise.
Mm.
And as we're like here, as we're getting closer, it's 2:46 Eastern, so we're only 35 minutes away from totality. As we're getting closer, it's getting more and more quiet.
Yeah, same here.
Everything's getting really quiet right now, and it's a weird, weird energy. And this is exactly the time to do what you said and go within.
Hmm.
So
That quietness. Wow. When do we find that stillness? Even the
I
birds.
know
Again,
they're amazing, right? And this
crazy.
today's a once in a lifetime or twice or three times in a lifetime experience. So let's embrace it with love and with reverence, with peace and with stillness. John, thank you. I'm going to, for everyone watching, from now until about 4 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to turn the camera towards the sky. There's not much to see, but you will see
Mhm.
when the totality hits. I'm here at my mom's house. I just flew in from New Jersey last night,
Awesome.
so my mom and I are going to enjoy the eclipse together. So I'm not going to really be on, but what a great lead into it, John.
Mm.
Beautiful, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. It's
And
so
then
great being here.
amazing. And then I'll be back at 4 p.m. Eastern, and we'll go all the way till 5:30, maybe longer. Who knows? Maybe I'll go longer. But we'll have a lot of other great guests on later. Adam Apollo, Astrologer Babe, Samantha Toon. I might be forgetting someone else. But anyways, John, beyondtheordinaryshow.com, right?
Yes, that's it. Or johnburgos.co,
Or
just
John
find me
Burgos
anywhere.
STO.
Or they'll
One of my
find us
favorite,
collaborating, right?
amazing.
Yeah.
One of my favorite shows of all time, and I'm so grateful to be on there once in a while. It's always so much fun. Alan, thank you for joining. Alan,
Alan, thank you.
new realities TV on YouTube. On I know your internet's a little slow right now with Mercury retrograde. We'll see if you come on. I see you're trying to come on, but I just see the thing that this is the Mercury retrograde just going around in a circle.
That's Alan going through astral planes.
Absolutely. Alan Steinfeld, you can find him at New Realities TV on all social media. Thank you both. I love both of you dearly. You're
Love you
both
too, brother.
two of my favorite people in the world. So thank you so much for sharing this time with me. I'm really, really grateful.
Happy Eclipse blessings, everybody.
Happy Eclipse, everyone. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
So I'm going to turn the camera. And Alan, thank you. I know your internet's slow, but I really appreciate you joining, my friend. Thank you. So that's it. I'm just gonna kind of point it at the sky. I'm gonna get my eclipse glasses on to be safe here, but I don't. There's really no clearing in the clouds. So enjoy, everyone, and we'll be back at 4 p.m. We'll be back at 4 p.m. with more guests. Just a little update. We're 17 minutes from totality here, and the energy is really heavy, really dense, really strange. It's a very heavy energy. It's hard to even form thoughts. It's just a very dense energy. I can see what Alan was saying. At the same time, you're gonna enjoy it, embrace it. It's the dark and the light coming together. So you guys will see it get dark here in about 17 minutes, 16 minutes maybe. Cloudy all day today, so there's no real viewing to be had, but we'll enjoy whatever we can, the darkness that comes. So that's it. You get to meet my mom. We'll see. And you guys did. You saw her with. That's funny. Also, it got very cold. The temperature just dropped about 10 degrees. That's another real odd. I'm so glad I'm documenting this. And this will be up on YouTube later. But yeah, the temperature just dropped like 10 degrees out of nowhere. It's another really odd kind of manifestation of this. Amazing. So 15 minutes from totality here. And, okay, just, it's a very heavy, dense, very tiring energy. It's very cold, but I'm very excited. This is a once or twice or thrice in a lifetime, if I'm lucky, thing. Although there was a story I read of a 105-year-old man who has seen, I think,
9 total solar eclipses. This is his ninth. There's also the cool story that in 1978, a ninth grade earth science teacher here in Rochester told his students about that, there was going to be a total solar eclipse in Rochester, April 8, 2024. And he said, we'll all watch it together. And over 100 of his former students are gathering today on his front lawn to watch it with him from all over the country. A homework assignment 46 years in the making. How cool is that, right? That's the power that teachers have. Cannot see the sun at all. It is very, very over. It's complete cloud cover, and it's very cold. It's getting colder as we're approaching totality. That's the one thing I didn't even think about. That's a really, really interesting, cool aspect of this. That the temperature is rapidly dropping as we approach totality here. Minutes away. You feel older, Sherry? No, it's because it's about to be done. It's like consumption.
Put my phone, the ringer.
7 minutes from totality, and the sun is setting. It looks and feels like 7 p.m. evening, 7:30. This is wild. I'm going to be in meditation during the actual darkness.
There's a hawk.
Now it looks like it's like 8 p.m.
Huge hawk.
Yeah.
One hawk.
What time is it? We're 5 minutes from totality. You can see it's getting dark. It looks like it's about 8 p.m. now. And there's huge hawk just flew overhead. This is the craziest thing I've ever experienced in my life. Oh my god. The sun's setting in the middle of the day. Wow. Unbelievable.
Feel the gravity pulling your feet down. I've never experienced it. Did you hear the geese?
Yeah. Just so I can always remember this, here we are in darkness in the middle of the day. There's a plane going by in the sky with its lights on. All the automatic lights have turned on. There's fireworks going off. The geese you can hear, and all sorts of different birds are chirping than were before. This is just one of the weirdest experiences and wildest experiences of my life. And the sun's now rising again. It's like a sunrise now, and it's really quick. Whoa! It's gonna light up real. Oh my god! Whoa!
Oh my god!
Wow! Woo! 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 sun just rose again like that. It took 15, 20 seconds. It looks like now it's like 7:30 a.m. maybe. It's not fully daytime yet again. I can still hear fireworks. I love how people had the creativity to launch fireworks right during it. I think that's so cool. So it feels like a sunrise now. It feels like just woke up. It's getting brighter and brighter again. And it feels very different on this side of it than before. Before there was this real discordant, nervous, anxious energy, and on the other side of it, it's like a new dawn. It's like a new earth, a new reality that we stepped into on the other side of the eclipse. That was wild, and it's still getting brighter and brighter. And it feels like morning now. It feels like 7:30 a.m., 8 a.m. And it's hard to describe, but just on some level, it felt like endings and new beginnings. It felt like wrapping up karmic cycles within us or on the planet during it, and then on the other side of it, when the sun rose again, it's like a new beginning, a new dawn. Everything feels fresh on the other side of it. And my feeling is that where the path of totality is, so from Texas through Memphis, through Cleveland, Rochester, right, and north, that it's not by, there's no accidents, right? That these areas, the grid lines here are being cleared. Like Rochester, for example, this area has such a history of trauma from indigenous people, from slavery, right? This was where Frederick Douglass, was, right. This is where the end of the Underground Railroad was, up here, right? And so much crime that still is up here, and it's a big clearing for the grid lines all throughout the path of totality. Now it feels like it's like 8:30, 9 a.m. almost back to full daylight. Where? I don't hear. You got better hearing than me right now. This is an unforgettable experience. I've had dreams over the years of an eclipse during the day. Like, I've had this dream dozens of times over the years that it got dark in the middle of the day, and then the sun came back up. And I never really understood what the dream meant. I still don't, but I just experienced it for real, in real reality, which is wild. And for all you watching, that weren't in totality, don't be afraid of these eclipses. Go. They're once in a lifetime, twice in a lifetime. You're gonna have to wait till 2044 if you're in the U.S., but there'll be other ones in Europe and Asia that you could always fly to. But try to experience it once in your life. It's just something to experience. The one in 2017, I knew a lot of people that traveled out west, and they all had an incredible experience. And it was so nice to be able to just experience this from home, not have to go anywhere. So now it feels like it's like 10 a.m. Sun has risen, and it's daytime again. And there's this real feeling of like a new dawn, new beginnings. And actually, it being cloudy today, I think actually made it potentially even cooler because we couldn't look at the sun and anticipate. We just had to surrender to the sky at its own time, doing what it will. So I'm actually grateful that it was cloudy because that part, we missed being able to view with the glasses, which is kind of disappointing, but the totality part, there was no way to anticipate it. You just experienced it. And it was incredible. Oh, and the temperature, yeah, it got really cold. It dropped 20 degrees. 20 degrees, I would say, from what it was, let's say an hour and a half before the eclipse to during it. It probably went from 62 to 40, but maybe 7. I'd say it went from about 62 degrees earlier to 45 degrees during the totality, and now it's still trying to warm up. It's like maybe feels like it's about 48, 49 degrees. And I'd imagine over the next hour it'll warm up again a lot more. What music are they playing?
The Dark Side of the Moon, they should have played.
I know.
Squirrels all came in up there.
I saw the squirrels running around during it.
Yeah,
Oh, there's a blue jay there. it's interesting. People, like what I read, that people were saying, oh, during the totality, the birds stopped chirping. Actually, we didn't experience that. They kept chirping, but we started hearing like honking. You said it was geese, right? That's my mom off camera there. I think it was geese as well. Yeah, that was and then they stopped. So the geese were honking like crazy. We could hear them just as loud as the fireworks. We could hear the geese honking during the 3 minutes of totality, and then as soon as the sun rose again, the geese stopped. The birds got a little quieter, but for the most, I still heard them during the totality. For me, one of the most amazing sights was seeing a plane go by during the full darkness with its lights on, and also just seeing like all the automatic, garage and backyard lights come on. And see, now a plane's going by. Oh, its lights actually are still on because it's a little, it's not fully light yet. That's United. I have a talent. I can identify any plane going by what company it is. That's United. Still doesn't feel totally like daytime, right? It still feels like morning, right? So just weird to feel like it's like an entire day happening in 10 minutes. You know? We kept our dogs inside because animals can get scared during this. And it's still very chilly. 3:37. So yeah, it still feels like morning. No, it's still getting brighter. It's still getting brighter.
You notice the clouds stopped moving?
No. What?
It was occurring, the clouds stopped.
That may have been perception more than anything because
You see them moving. Right, it's like it's crazy. The day was like 10 minutes.
bravo to whoever had the thought to launch fireworks in the middle of it. That was Just a great thought. Maybe it's just the Leo in me, but I just love that. Again, the energy felt really heavy before it and during it, and then after it, it feels clearing. Do you agree, Mom? Light. Yeah, my mom's saying it feels light. I agree. It was so heavy before and during, and then when the sun rose again, it felt just light. It felt clear again. Very tiring, though. I'm very tired. Everyone's tired with this. It's a tiring energy.
Is that a bird?
Yeah. You wonder what the animals think, you know?
You see the size of that hawk?
Yeah, there was also a giant hawk that came by during the darkness. So we gotta look up what does hawk mean as a spirit animal, now feels like mid-morning. Like 9:30 a.m. maybe. There's a cardinal over there. Another United plane. Oh yeah, the woodpecker. There's so many birds coming out to play right now. They gave everyone off school today here, which is good. Let the kids enjoy it. Hopefully a lot of people took off work today, too.
Russians or Wagner's.
Really?
So the employees go outside.
Wegmans closed during the middle of the day so the employees could go see it. See? Of course my mom got the sage. Of course. Oh. I'm not gonna. It's kind of dirty, so I'm gonna put it over my Nationals cap. But this is a Rochester Red Wings batting helmet. in celebration of Rochester. And the Nationals are the Major League club for the Rochester Red Wings. So there we go. So 3:45. So, okay. So now it's starting to look almost like back to normal, right? Would you say? So now we're 20 minutes on the other side of totality, and it's now getting pretty light again, where it's starting to look like almost like 11 a.m., like midday. It's kind of getting back to normal. It's still a bit heavy and ungrounding, and got a headache, and I think almost everyone has a headache during this. At least, light workers. But it's much lighter than it was before totality. And again, this is not a time to set intentions or to do anything. It's just to appreciate it and allow it, surrender to it. I love when the sage starts really going. It's so fun. And I so wanted to experience this just at home and not, with thousands of people on the beach or Pops Hill. Just too would be too overwhelming, the energy. Although that would be a cool experience too. Bob, any thoughts? I'm gonna have to eat and get ready for it. Do you want to share? You want to share on thing? Okay. Yeah.
It's just open. The energy.
Yeah. No, I agree. No, my mom says she just wants to share. She feels that it's an opening, and it's like in that direction. Yeah, and I feel the exact same way. It's like just a new window to a new reality opening, and it's just something new. As I felt during it, just things were ending and things were re-beginning. And like in a lot of ways, this area needs that. Our community needs that. Everywhere. I just think it's not by mistake. Everywhere the eclipse is passing, it's a rebirth for those areas especially. And I love Rochester with all my heart, and I care about the city and the area so much, and it's a rebirth, but it's also a rebirth for the entire world. It's just that we were lucky enough to be the stewards of it, if we're in the path. So it's like as if those that are in Rochester, Syracuse, Cleveland, we're the shamans welcoming in the new reality for the whole world with this. It was a gift of giving space, and especially again for those in the path, though, and not not just up here, but Texas and Arkansas and Mexico and everywhere that it passed, and now it's getting warm. Like I can take. Again, this is one of the temperature is one of the weirdest experiences too. It's getting warmer again. So Adam Apollo at 4:00, Rick Levine 4:15. God, who else? Who am I forgetting? Someone remind me who I have on at 4:30. 4:45. Oh no, 4:30 is Astrologer Babe. 4:45 Samantha Toon, and we'll see if anyone else pops in at 5. I may have some surprise guests as well at 5. I'm gonna have some lunch and then get ready for Adam Apollo.
Arto, man, no Comet, no Project Bluebeam, no holograms. Exactly. No, I mean, come on.
You guys know I'm the real deal, and I know what's going on. And people were asking me, this past weekend, like, what's gonna happen tomorrow? It's like, is there gonna be some sort of calamity? It's like, no, it's gonna be an awesome day with an eclipse, and that's it. Nothing's gonna happen today. But it's fun. People like to make their bizarre theories about things. Why does it come out? Yeah. Yeah. It is still really chilly though. So we just let the dogs back out. Buddha, the puppy, is really just. Actually, they both look very disoriented. I have to say, they both look very. When they came out of the house, they looked like dazed and disoriented, like they didn't really understand what was going on. Especially the puppy, who is about to have his first birthday on Wednesday. It'll be Buddha's first birthday. Buddha. Bianca. Bianca, what do you think of the eclipse?
What do you think of the eclipse? How was it? How was the eclipse for you? Scared or did you know what was going on?
Buddha. Now it really feels like afternoon again. Starting to get back to normal.
Buddha says thank you. Thank you. His first birthday. My mom's going to make him a cake. I guess you guys can hear me eating. Sorry about that. Adam, I can bring you on. Okay. Do I look new? Do I look reborn, everybody? Adam Apollo.
Hey, man, you
Hey,
got you're looking.
how are you? Where are you?
I'm in Malibu, but I've been sort of astrally journeying with the eclipse all day since the first touch of the penumbra in these lands this morning, and then following the energy of the shadow and each of the moments of totality, and watching NASA feeds and timing
Yeah.
feeds, and just really feeling the wave of awe and wonder
Yeah.
and bliss and grace that
Yeah.
people have been going into across the country. Can you feel the
Yeah.
resonance? It's like a bell is ringing in these lands.
Yeah. We just had totality here. Okay. It ended about 30, 35, 30 minutes ago. Uh, one of the wildest experiences of my life. We're also trying to process it.
Yeah.
Like what just happened. It feels like a couple things. Like an entire day passed in a matter of 30 minutes. There was an extra day within a
Yeah.
day here. It feels very disorienting. Like I don't know what time of day it is right now. My body's trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
Our dogs are very disoriented. They came out of the house after totality. They were really confused.
Yeah. My cats too. They're even just with a partial eclipse, my cats can,
Right.
they can feel what's going on. And I was watching in the stream in Dallas, and they all started freaking out because all the bats were coming out and swarming
Really?
around. Yeah,
Wow.
they were like,
What we
"What?"
had here, we had the geese come out. It was the
Yeah.
wildest thing where just all of a sudden during the 3 minutes of totality, the geese started going crazy and you could hear them. I think they're we're about 2 miles from the beach. We could hear them all the way from the beach.
Wow. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, the energy is palpable, and I think that these junctures are really, really important moments for people to actually viscerally experience the fact that there's something so profound, so momentous about the fact that we're on a spherical planet hurtling through space,
yeah.
moon
Yeah.
orbiting around it, that just happens to be the right distance so that it can go right in front of the sun and not
Right.
block the whole thing, but like block all of it except for the heliosphere, so that we see this incredible light and life force and the beauty of these prominences exploding out into space, and like it's moving in this deep way, just in terms of an idea or a visual, but more importantly, it's actually the experience energetically. It's the emotional experience of feeling how sacred this is.
Oh, yeah.
That we exist on this planet. How
Yeah.
sacred it is that we're in this relationship with this amazing star,
Yeah.
amazing moon. And as you can tell, you're an energetic person, so I'm sure you've had a lot of experiences with Tai Chi and prana and breath work and things like that. But when I watch, a woman who's used to just being a newscaster and she's never felt these sorts of subtle energetic experiences, or doesn't know that's what she's experiencing, and all of a sudden she's going, "Oh my God, my hairs are all standing up. What is this feeling? What,
Yeah.
like, I need to cry. Like, what is
Yeah.
this that's moving through me?" And I'm like, "All right, we got another one."
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
like pop.
Yeah. An awakening. Like today it's
Yeah,
got to be an awakening for so many people, whether they know it or not. Right.
yeah, it is. It's a
Amazing.
great awakening.
That my experience energetically, and this is my first experience being in a totality,
Mm.
was before, and as we got closer and closer to totality, the energy was heavier and heavier, denser. During it,
Mm.
dense. It was so dense and heavy. And as soon as we got on the other side of it and the sun started rising again, essentially, it was like this great
Mm.
clearing. And the energy started feeling really crystal clear.
Mm.
And that's the feeling now. I got this subtle feeling deep down during the darkness that it was like lifetimes were being clear. It felt like a karmic cleansing for me and for my mom and for anyone here in Rochester or anyone in the path. Like it was a karmic
Mm.
cleansing, and I guess for the whole world, really. And on the other side of it, it's like I don't really know what was cleared, but I know something was 1,000%. I know something within me
Yeah.
just was like, okay, that's gone now.
Yeah. Yeah. Last night I was in a lot of preparatory work until very late at night, and I was out on my deck. And, you know, for those of you that might be watching that don't know me, I'm an astral traveler. I love to journey and I love to connect with other worlds and other kinds of beings. And it's just a gift I've always had to be able to move my perception outside of my body and, go over there and then witness myself back here and that
Yeah.
kind of and I began to move into a space where I was in these deep prayers about, how do we protect the people of this planet? How do we make sure that with this powerful wave moving across this nation and through all of its power spots, and knowing that there are some who would use this kind of event to do dark things, to
Oh
make,
yeah, and we know that's going on for
yeah.
sure,
And so,
but it's okay because the
yeah,
ascension is
let
this interplay between dark and light.
yeah, yeah. I'll carry it home. No
Okay,
worries.
do it, do it.
But
Well,
yeah, so
I'm
like
sorry. I
being
just wanted,
aware,
with
I
excitement, I
understand.
wanted to interject. Yeah,
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 I understand. Well, yes, and we must hold that flag of like it's okay.
yeah,
But for a lot of people and for a lot of the world, people are scared, and there's a fear,
get
and
it.
there's
Yeah,
CERN turning on, and there's
yeah,
three
yeah,
launching from NASA, and people don't know and understand what's really going on. And as I'm in these prayers, accessing, what is the greatest service that I can be in? What is the greatest way that I can be an anchor for the positive and magical and beautiful intentions of the people that are out there, that are my friends all in Texas, doing the Unify
yeah,
Mandala, all of these
yeah.
pieces. And what I began to experience was a series of different galactic counselors coming in and meeting with me on my deck. And here I am standing on my deck, and I literally could see the full energetic bodies of these galactic ambassadors from different worlds who are all
Wow.
basically like, we're with you, bro.
Yeah.
Like, we're here. Bro, I say, just because I'm,
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm the same way.
like, my
Yeah,
hip hop teenage style.
yeah, yeah,
And they're like, we're with you. And they were showing me this whole lattice of ships around the planet, and they were
yeah,
showing that that they're here and ready to hold the
yeah,
space for what that we're holding as the intention for this world. But we have to hold the intention, we have to
yeah.
hold the, and I,
It's a it's an energetic tie, right? Where whatever we intentionally put out there, then they can reflect that back in a more powerful way.
exactly.
Yeah,
It's kind of like, you get your kids doing a birthday thing or birthday ceremony, and it's like, no, you do whatever you guys want to do. We're just going to be holding space here
yeah,
and supporting it and making sure you succeed at it in whatever way. And
yeah,
what I started to see and went into was an awareness of this. I kind of touched into this pillar that I put in the middle of our astral circle. And inside of the pillar, which was like a divine trine, if you're familiar with old magic works, you can use a triangle to surround an energy in a circle that's like a divine trine that will hold and isolate that energy so that you can witness it, interact with it, and that kind of thing, but the energy will stay inside of that structure. It's an old technique. And so I created this structure, and I started invoking into it and seeing in it each of the things that I could intuitively feel might be power moves by some of the forces out there. Like,
Sure.
you know, CERN doing its thing. What's the intention? What's the actual energy behind it? Political moves. How are they going to leverage this?
Sure.
Corporations, you know, mega giant pharmaceutical industries, etc. Like what is the ways, black ops, i.e., you know, cabal, etc.,
Sure.
etc., etc.
Yeah.
And I started to look at each one of them, and as I was looking at each one and meditating with each one, I found myself sort of in this state of being in council and essentially just kind of untangling the energetics down to the root portion of what the real true desire and heartfelt belief of the people were underlying those challenging intentions. And what I started to see was this process where it's not it's not that like you need to try to stop, you know, an army from coming with a bunch of guns or a bunch of missiles and a bunch of planes, right? If you're in war, it's that you need to tune into the root intention and imperative of each person that's a part of that army. Because every individual who chooses to drop their gun, every individual who chooses to realize that they can actually be something different, that they can choose to do something different, is where the grace actually is. We don't have to stop, you know, some massive thing that's undefinable or a force that has to do with some, you know, great archonic whatever. It's actually just that we need to learn how to connect into the deepest truth and the deepest desires inside of all of the people. And when we can see into the heart of the people, and you can see that every one of us was a child, every one of us grew up, every one of us is.
Every one of us just wants love, whether it's been buried or whether it's right out in the open,
That's right.
like us.
That's right. We all just want love. And when we can come from that place and we can see even the darkest intentions in the world are coming from a wound, from someone that went through trauma, and we can see them as angels and bring our love to their being and say, I see the child that's wounded inside of you, and I understand why you're in pain.
Yeah.
And next time you can actually heal this. We can change this together right now.
Yeah.
This moment.
Think about how, like, in indigenous cultures, you know, instead of having prisons, this is exactly what they would do. Someone that committed a violent crime, they would heal whatever that disconnect from love is within them and reintegrate them. And I see a future, you know, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, whatever, without prisons. We don't need them anymore, you know?
Totally. Yeah, I mean, I honored the Dagara tribe in Africa, for example, who they have a policy that if something's wrong and there's someone and they're acting out, there's a lot of intense things they're doing or going through, you know, a person will go to them and they'll say, hey, you know, what do you need to grieve about? Where's your pain? And can we talk about it? And if they're like, they won't talk because they're too angry or they're whatever, that person goes and gets another person from the tribe. And then they go and get another person from the tribe. And essentially then there's, you know, 3 people and then 5 people that sit there and hold space for them until, if they need to, they'll get the entire tribe to all show up and literally do an entire tribe ceremony and grief ritual around this person to the opportunity for them to actually go through and into the pain and into the grief and into the release. And I've done Dagara grief ritual, you know, with Sabamfu Some when she was alive. Just absolutely life-changing experience, because for the Dagara, they realized that anger and rage and the desire to hurt, all of these things are actually actions done to defend the wound, which is actually grief and sadness, you know. And so through the opportunity to grieve to truly feel everything that you need to feel, you can actually release the root of this pain that causes you to create more pain for others.
And in just one moment, Adam.
Yeah.
Rick. Oh, there you go.
Hey,
there you go.
there
Rick.
he is.
Hey, Adam.
Hey, what's
Hey,
up,
Adam.
Rick?
Nice to see you.
Great to see you
How
too.
cool is this? The three of us. I love this.
Yes. Nice.
I got a special shirt on today.
Ooh.
Me too.
Oh,
Let's see yours.
nice.
Oh,
The wizard.
oh my God! All right, you guys got to see mine.
Oh,
It's the American. It's the
nice.
most American possible Eclipse shirt with the selfie.
I heard on the live stream somebody said so to a guy who is a helio researcher. She's like, so are you team sun or team moon or team earth today?
Yeah,
And he was
exactly.
like, I'm sun all the way, baby.
Exactly. But I figured this is the most Leo possible shirt I could get for today. And
I'm not sure why I'm not sure why I don't see you, but I don't. I see.
We see you.
I see Adam
No.
and me.
We
Huh?
see you, and you look beautiful.
Yeah, we see you. Good, man.
No, so you're
Okay.
on.
In the
You're
house.
good. You're good. And okay, I want to keep you both on for like 2 minutes, and then we'll go just to Rick. So, and by the way, one of the most interesting experiences from my end in totality is the temperature. I started out this broadcast just with this shirt on.
Yeah.
It dropped, guys, by 20 degrees. I'm not even joking. 20 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's like back to, it feels about 60 again, and it's comfortable. It was amazing. But Adam, everything you were just talking about from an astrological perspective absolutely has to do with Chiron being conjunct this eclipse.
That's
Chiron
Not just conjunct to the exact motherfucking minute.
Yeah. Is it really the exact minute?
Yeah, 20. It's 19 degrees,
Wow.
24 minutes. I've
Holy
never
shit.
seen it like that ever with any planet ever.
Yeah, and Rick, if you just for the viewer's sake, to bridge the kind of astronomical and astrological side of things, if you could actually see Chiron close to the sun, about how close would it be if you were looking up at the sky and you could actually see Chiron?
I don't know what its declination is, and I'm not gonna, leave right now. But it's obviously, still close, close to the node. But I don't know what the degree, north-south declination would be.
Right.
There's another weird thing about this, Adam, that I bet you haven't noticed, but you will in a moment, and that is, as you know, when you have a tetrahedron and one point in the North Pole, the three bottom vertices fall at the 19.5 degree south latitude, which is the hyperdimensional physics, point of the circumscription. This eclipse is at 19.5 degrees from the ecliptic.
Interesting. Yeah.
I don't know.
So
Can
Merkaba
you
Earth is on, huh?
transcribe that into lay person interpretation for us?
Yeah, there's something about this eclipse that is more transformational, magical. Remember, I mean, most people miss the concept that there is nothing physical in the entire universe. As Bucky Fuller used to say, the universe consists of no things. No things. That no two things ever touch each other. Everything that we see as solid is simply an artifact of nodes. The word node comes from a Latin word, nodus, which means knot. And it's how vibrations tie themselves up into the illusion of physicality. So nodes are simply knots of reality. And when we have a lunation tied up to the knot of the moon's wave around the Earth's wave, the moon's wave around the Earth, and the Earth's ripple around the sun, eclipses have this kind of multi-dimensionality nodes do. They're like vortexes. They go beyond the physical realm.
Oh, yeah.
That's why in Vedic astrology, nodes are considered to be, the point of Maya at which the whole interplay begins. It does. And so that, combined with the fact that this is at this magical degree point from our 0 point of everything, the Aries point, just kind of adds another layer to it. I don't know. People are going crazy out there, and
It's like it's such a new beginning sort of energy on every level, and it like a karmic, both bringing up the karma, but also like vacuuming it, clearing it out, right? Oh, Rick, there you are.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
it's okay.
I disappeared.
Well, you are Merlin. If
Yeah,
Merlin
and
didn't disappear once in a while, I would be disappointed, sir.
I actually disappeared into a cloud of quantum possibilities.
Oh yeah. Both of you are disappearing men. Disappearing, reappearing, and astral traveling and bilocating and.
Well, we've just
So
around a long time. We've just been doing that.
That is very true. As of I, we all have
Earth, and also beyond this earth.
Absolutely.
And
it's
an honor and a pleasure to be with both of you gentlemen today, Master Rick Levine. I look forward to our next conjunction of magic together. And
so Adam, you know that thing that everyone says from the Emerald Tablet, the whole as above, so below, the within is with that, is the without.
I've never heard.
Well, I think that there's also a temporal version of that. And it's not just as above, so below, it's as the past, so the future.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, I hear that one a lot, and I think it's really a fascinating one, because in the journey through time that we take, we are certainly crossing spiral dynamic points that you could say are nodes that link us in resonance to prior times. And I found in my journey throughout life, I've noticed that even at certain ages, as I get to be a certain age, I'll begin to have the clearings and the past life memories and the recall from that same age in prior. And it was a little challenging at first for some of them, because there were times that I got sick and died, or I died in a war, or I went through a massive betrayal, or things like this. And I found myself spontaneously dealing with those energetics. And of course, the planets are mapping to that. There's a connection between the state of resonance that exists in the energetics of the planets in a very particular configuration, and the energetic frequencies and fields that we hold in our body and in our soul construct and across the different planes and layers of our being. And so, yes, we can actually get truly, really entangled between a moment in the present and a moment in the past, or a moment in the present and a moment in the future, or all three, simply by accessing a state of resonance in which all those points in time are interconnected through entanglement.
Yeah, and I would take it one step further, and I would say they are always interconnected through entanglement. And as the real Uncle Albert, not Admiral Halsey, but Uncle Albert Einstein said,
I was hoping you were going to say that one.
That
okay, good.
That he wrote that time. The quote is, "Time is an illusion, albeit a very persistent one."
Yes.
Good.
And I want to throw in another perspective, guys, not just the temporal fabric of this, but the locational and the geographical fabric of this. I believe nothing is a mistake, and it's no mistake the particular path of totality for this particular eclipse, that everywhere that this totality was passing, there's grid clearing that was meant to and is happening and just happened. For example, up here in Rochester, this was the end of the Underground Railroad. There's a lot, there's a lot of indigenous pain that is in the grid lines up here.
Yeah.
And I just feel for this entire area where I'm at, Western New York, this massive clearing of the grid lines here.
You want to hear another really weird one about this eclipse? This eclipse, compared to the August of 2017 total eclipse, those two paths cross at Carbondale, Illinois.
Okay.
where we're speaking about nodes and sacred geometry and the 19.5 degree point of an icosahedron intersecting with a circumscribed sphere. That was the location where Buckminster Fuller hung out and did all of his work at the
Really?
University of Southern Illinois in Carbondale, Illinois. Yeah.
Wow.
So there's a crazy one for you.
Yeah, that is for sure. And this passed through, if I'm not mistaken, Hot Springs, Arkansas, which is the largest crystal deposit in the entire Western Hemisphere, and is such an energetic anchor for the grid for all of the United States and North America because of the quartz there.
Huh. Yeah.
So,
All right. I want to be outside like Adam so I can show how,
amazing.
how,
Adam,
Very
how
fun.
cool my outside is. But I'm in a short sleeve shirt that's cold. I'm going back in.
Adam, I'm so grateful for your contributions. Thank you so much. Everything you said resonated so profoundly, and I'm very grateful for your incredible contributions to just the planet and the grid lines and everything you do. And we're going to connect soon for a Stars Align episode so we can do a full hour with you, and I can't wait. And are you going to be at Disclosure Fest in Castaic Lake?
Absolutely, yeah.
Amazing. We'll see you there. I can't wait.
There.
Thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate your presence.
Thank you so much.
And Matthew, it's good to see you, and I'm not leaving yet, of course. And
Yeah.
Adam, it's always great to see you, and I can't wait for a ride when you finally manufacture your interstellar space travel device. I'd go out for a little cruise with you.
Please
You got it.
put me on that waiting list as well, Adam.
Yeah.
Please.
Well, got the Starship interface first, and so that's almost to launch point. And then we take the planetary operating system that gamifies regenerative impact, core nexus, and essentially establish, the Starfleet out of that. And then we have all the hubs that we build the ships in, and we go for some adventures. So, Rick,
do I feel like there's
somewhat
of a chance you have a teleportation platform in your basement?
Well,
in Malibu.
Yeah, it's eat your heart out, Elon Musk.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
Musk would definitely be jealous. I do have teleportation capacities, but it turns out it's actually built into my biological mechanism, and I just
probably all of us if we reach a certain point, right?
That's right. We can absolutely do that. And I think at some point we'll be able to teleport physical body as well. I know some of the mechanics of that, but at least on the astral and etheric levels, we can travel and we can confirm things, and that's proven science now. If anybody thinks that's crazy, it's not. So you just got to learn how to refine it.
Well, hey, the CIA has known that for a heck of a long time.
Yeah,
right?
I just can't wait until they can bilocate a hot pizza.
Well, the Amazon or the delivery drones are like the stepping stone to that.
No, they're still stuck in 3D.
Wait, but you got to be careful what you wish for, because in Back to the Future 2, they had the dehydrator. And that it's like, oh wow, you really know how to dehydrate a pizza, but that pizza looked like shit to me, being a New Yorker. I gotta say,
Yeah, not all pizza is made equal.
No, if we're gonna bilocate pizzas, it's got to be from Manhattan, and if we're gonna bilocate bagels, Long Island bagels.
Nice.
Come on. Cannot be.
I mean,
right?
Love a good bagel. I hear you on that one. All right, gentlemen.
Amazing, Adam. Thank you so much.
What a treat, Adam. Nice to see you again.
You too, brothers. You too. And aloha to everyone. Enjoy your day. Simmer in the energy of the eclipse. Just remember to stay deep and still and grounded and peaceful, and keep your visions moving. Keep your sight moving, because we're in an integration phase here for a while now. So make sure you just keep deep listening and stay present and stay with it. It's not over yet. We're going to be in it for a minute. So stay.
Oh, and we have Jupiter, Uranus. I mean, it's certainly already in range.
I know that we're only 11 days away from that. That's
11 days. I mean, we're a conjunction within a couple of degrees of orb.
True, we're already getting into it. Yeah.
Amazing. All right.
Yeah, and and before you go, Adam, speaking of that,
that to me screams technological innovation for the Aquarian age. And people like Adam and you and people like us that are the innovators, we're going to be getting downloads during this conjunction time that it may not be something we manifest right away. It might be 3 years from now, right? But the ideas and the it's like in Back to the Future 2 at the beginning when Doc tells the story that he slipped and fell in his toilet and hit his head, and that's where he got the idea for the flux capacitor. It's that sort of energy that is this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, that it's all these innovations will get downloaded, and some new ones will be released to the public.
Well, it was a Jupiter. It was a Jupiter-Uranus conjunction at the first telegraph, the first commercial broadcast of radio, the first internet transmission when it was still government. These were all on Uranus, Neptune.
Also, the purported moon
Jupiter,
landing,
Uranus.
the first purported moon landing.
Oh, and that one, actually, the moon landing was not only a close Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, but the moon was conjoined, the two of them, at the same moment. In July of whatever that was, 69.
60, yeah.
I remember it. I was stoned out of my mind in my parents' living room. It was crazy.
I'm sure.
It was like watching it on a black and white TV going, what the hell is this?
The government weed, right? Back then? My mom was probably on acid during it. I'll have to ask her later. Adam, thank you so much. And Rick, hang around, and then we're going to have Astrologer Babe coming up as well. We're going to have Samantha Toon, maybe some other ones. But Adam, do you have a website?
Always. I got 100. Just Google my name. It's fine. Or just adam.com.
Google it.
Right. And
by
so,
the way,
as long as we're having an eclipse, let's just remember that Adam's last name is the sun god.
That is true. That is true. One little ripple here is it's now raining. Right now, if it gets any heavier, I'm going to have to go get an umbrella for the camera. But for now, we're okay.
All right, guys. Aloha. See you soon.
Aloha.
See you, Adam.
Aloha.
Rick, I want to go deeper with this Chiron conjunction because, as we've said, this is really remarkable. It's an exact conjunction, which is so incredibly rare.
Yes.
What does it mean? What does it mean for the collective and for viewers, just for their individual spiritual journeys?
Well, I think Chiron often gets a bit of a bad rap because it's like Chiron is not just about being wounded. It's not. Chiron is about learning. It's about teaching.
Yeah.
Chiron was like bright. He was, Chiron was, taught Asclepius how to heal and medicine, and taught and taught Hercules how to fight. I mean, and so from that standpoint, and the learning that goes on with Chiron is slightly different than the learning that goes on with Saturn, because we think of Saturn, as the authoritative teacher, the teacher that brings us the rules, says, learn these multiplication tables, the work that we put into to the hard work we put in to learn something new, right? Yeah. With Chiron, it's more like learning by going beyond Saturn. Remember, Chiron is actually the connector between Saturn and Uranus. Okay. And I always think of, Saturn as the limit. It's the structure.
Why
it's
is
the stasis.
It's the connector?
Because its orbit goes its orbit cuts inside the orbit of Saturn and goes out to the orbit of Uranus. That's why it's not an asteroid. No, it's not a comet.
It's a minor planet and a comet in astronomy. It's both.
Well, technically a comet, I believe that technically a comet orbits the sun on an orbit on a elliptical path, and Chiron can't be an asteroid because that has to be
not
between.
An asteroid. That's
but
for
it's
sure.
Regardless of what it is.
Yeah.
It's an object that goes inside of Saturn where it
Okay.
infringes on the three-dimensional world, because that's what Saturn is. Saturn is the dividing line between that which we can perceive with our five senses and that which we can't. That's why the discovery of Uranus and Neptune and Pluto thrust us into this metaphysical ride where Saturn lost its position as the king of the universe. He only became the lord of the three-dimensional world, because Saturn was the Grim Reaper, was the end. It was death, and at the end, that was finality.
And now we know it's Pluto.
Well, we now know it's beyond Saturn. We may
Yeah.
say it's Pluto, but it's also Uranus is the shock of realizing that it didn't end at Saturn. Neptune is the dream of now what do we do with that knowledge that we know that it hasn't yet ended? And Pluto then, of course, is the ride that we're on when we're beyond Saturn in the meta physical realm. And this whole idea of everything outside of Saturn is beyond physical. It's meta to physical. And so Uranus, in some ways, I think of Saturn, as structure, as bones, and Uranus is electrical. It's the piezoelectric charge that's contained within bones, because bones themselves have an electrical charge. And when you want to go to break out of your structure, where do you go? You go to a chiropractor. Think about that.
Yeah.
And the chiropractor or chiropractor breaks your bones in effect to get the electrical awakening that gives us to Uranus. And so with the Chiron conjunction to the eclipse, there is a potential here to forgive, to be forgiven, to be open to learning that which you see, uh, in a way, a lot of our downfall as humans is that we repeat the past based upon the wounds of getting it wrong. Whether that's the belief in original sin, we're human, we're born, wrong in some religious realms. But we have things in our life, and people say you can't change the past. Well, that's why we go to therapy. We do therapy so that we can recorrect our view of the past. Culturally, right now, we're doing therapy in a way, correcting our past as kind of colonialists, as capitalists, as patriarchal society.
That's
and as
one
we
of the
go back
things I feel this eclipse is doing energetically because of the Aries energy of it. Like all of that hurt and trauma in the United States, well, and Mexico as well, right? It doesn't get cleared in a second. The codes
no.
are downloaded that into the grid lines that will precipitate over the coming years the changes to rebalance that patriarchy so the divine masculine and feminine become equal as they're meant to be on this planet.
Yeah. I agree with that, and I think, and I don't think it's only under the line of the eclipse either. I mean, this is what's going on in the Congo,
I agree.
in Sudan, in Gaza. I mean, it's going on all over the world. We're kind of confronting this new vision that we have of what we thought was the past for many people, realizing we need to change that so that we're not trapped in that same old behavior of continuing that neurotic pattern by living it out and creating that same hate or fear or misguided direction because of an old wound.
Yeah. And my sense was, and I agree with what you said, and my sense is that just from being here in totality today, those of us that were meant to be in totality, from Mexico to Arkansas to Memphis to Cleveland to Rochester, etc., we're essentially the stewards and the shamans, whether we know it or not. And as we go throughout the world over the next couple of years, we have the codes from being in the totality of this eclipse that will assist in shifting everything we're talking about.
Yeah. And again, the totality line is interesting, but if you think about it, all those people who are aware of the eclipse or are watching the NASA feed on their internet, on their device, on their cell phone, they're participating in the
Yeah.
totality.
Oh, absolutely. Of course. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. True. True. Especially in Pluto and Aquarius, and as we enter the age of Aquarius, where the internet and reality are essentially merging in a very odd way. Right. There still is a visceral experiential difference between being underneath it, as I was, versus watching it online. But in
Yeah.
Pluto and Aquarius, we're seeing a merging more than ever between the meta world and the physical world.
Yeah, I've experienced three total eclipses, and each one of them were different from the other two, but they were all very powerful. Just the actual visceral
Yeah.
experience. One of them was very clouded,
That's
and
what we
this
had
took place.
today. So
Well,
what
and
was interesting is,
it was actually in some ways it was what was very powerful. It was at an astrology conference in Plymouth, England, and there were about 200 astrologers on a hill, just kind of on the edge of the city of Plymouth, and it was cloudy. And Rob Hand, and for those of people who are watching who are not astrologers, you know, Rob Hand is one of the brightest stars of academic astrology on the planet. And Rob stood at the top of this hill and incanted in Latin a hymn to Mercury
ooh,
to clear the sky so we could have a clear sky for the
did it
eclipse. And
work?
although no,
Oh, okay.
no, but it was a pretty intense moment,
Yeah.
and we could feel it. We could still see the shadow,
Yeah.
you know, of totality run across the, you know, the face of the
Yeah.
earth at such an astronomical speed. And it was the first time that I had a visceral experience that I actually realized how fast all this shit was moving.
Oh my God, the speed of it was unbelievable, especially on the other side of it, from
Yeah,
darkness into it just felt like a sunrise that was sped up like
exactly.
times 10,
Exactly.
right?
It was like playing at for those people who are old enough to remember, it was like an old 78 RPM record that was just spinning so fast. It was like
Yeah.
whoosh. And you understood why the Chinese, you know, called it the dragon's breath. You know, it
Right.
was like you could almost hear the whoosh of it racing across the landscape. Amazing.
It was unbelievable, the speed of it. It was unbelievable, the temperature difference, that how quickly it
The
dropped.
temperature difference, yeah, and then the second total eclipse. Well, then I saw the one that was in Oregon, you know, 2017. That was absolute clear sky. I have my video of that is on my Instagram at
I
Rick
saw
Levine
that today.
Astrologer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and so I recorded that. But then I saw a third total eclipse. I was in Southeast Asia, and I flew over to Singapore on Boxing Day, the day after Christmas, just before COVID, and it was an annular
Yeah.
eclipse, which meant that it was a total eclipse, but it never got 100% dark, but the sky was eerie and you could see the full ring around the
Yeah.
sun. I was at the Singapore Marina. There were about 8,000 people with incredible computer-driven telescopes and whatever.
Oh
I
wow.
thought I was cool because I was there with my 400 millimeter lens on my good camera, and I was like, it was a toy compared to the other stuff there. So all I'm saying is that I've experienced totality, and they're all it is an amazing experience, but sometimes the amazing experience is not being in totality, closing your eyes and just kind of tuning into the
Oh,
magic.
for sure. And here I'm grateful that it was cloudy, because the cool part, although we never got to put on the eclipse glasses and see the actual eclipse, but in 2017 I saw that from in the partial. That was the experience of putting on the glasses. Today, with it being cloudy, the cool part was that we didn't know when it was about to get dark and how
Right.
quick. It was just a surrender experience because of the cloud covers. Like, okay, here we go, nighttime's coming. We didn't know exactly when and how fast because we couldn't watch it. So
Right.
that was pretty cool.
Right. We have a visitor, a guest who I don't think we should ignore.
Of
Maybe you're in charge of
course
this,
not.
not me,
Welcome,
but
Astrologer Babe, Jacqueline. Welcome, welcome. And you are in Hawaii, yes?
I am.
So
Wow. Thank you so
what are
much for,
things like on the island?
yeah, Thank you so much for inviting me. It's an honor
Of
to be here with
course.
you both. Happy astrological new year.
Absolutely.
I am based in Maui, Hawaii, and it was actually really funny when the eclipse happened. I happened to be at the laundromat, and this woman
Yeah.
that owns it, she had her phone on, and she was FaceTiming her family in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
And so for me, you know, when everybody's questioning, should I watch it? Should I not? I had no choice, where literally this woman ran up to me, held the phone up to my face and said, "Look." And so
Of
you could
course you
see.
should watch it. Don't fall into any of that fear. Of course you should watch it. It's a
Right. And I
wonderful
was
transformational
at,
experience. With all due respect to those
oh,
religions and
oh yeah.
lores that think it's negative, you know, for me, I was just in it. I can tell you it's a very positive experience for sure.
Absolutely. I feel positive about it as well. And so it was just hysterical because she was so excited, but she was like shouting at the phone because it was cloudy, but you could see, you know, the shadow outline of the
Yeah.
sun. And it happened so
So
quickly.
fast.
But
Yeah.
it was beautifully sunny here in Maui. The energy has
Amazing.
been really, really high, really heightened, very high vibrational today. A
And you know, the
combination.
energy during the eclipse portal, not just during totality, but from the moment where the sun and moon start crossing until which we're at it's 4:46 is good timing. Literally
Yeah.
right now, this is the last minute, I believe,
Wow.
of the partial eclipse here in Rochester. But during that time, it's like a laundromat, an energetic laundromat between the sun and the moon and the earth, where they're going around,
Absolutely,
because
man.
the energy is
That
very discordant and unhooked. It's not.
exactly. That energy of it was the perfect balance. Like I witnessed so much chaotic energy and then at the same time just this tranquility, this blanket
Yeah.
of just beautiful contentment and tranquility. So yeah, that's what we're
You
feeling
know, the
here.
thing that you just said about either being out in it or you know, or hiding from it.
Right.
A number of years ago, I was actually lecturing in Kolkata, India,
Yeah.
and it was at a Vedic institute, the Krishnamurti Institute of Vedic Studies, and it was during a lunar
Okay.
eclipse, and I was giving my talk at totality during the eclipse,
Really?
and I had my clock, my cell phone set so that 30 seconds before totality, my cell phone rang, and I stopped my lecture with the presentation. There were like, you know, like 1,500 Indian Vedic practitioners in this rather large auditorium, and I stopped, and I took out my flute. And I said, we're going to do a quiet, you know, just a meditation to be with this eclipse. And they were horrified because they just wanted to close
Oh
their eyes.
yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
because in Vedic astrology, you do not want to be outside during an eclipse
No, no,
because
no.
of
You
the
don't want to
inherent
eat.
fear.
You don't want to drink. You don't want to do
Right.
anything but sleep or just meditate.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
a
never
lot of
bought.
fear.
I have such respect, and Hinduism is a part of my journey, absolutely. But I never bought that, and I
Mine
don't
too.
think we have to buy anything that we don't want
Right.
to.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. You go with what resonates for your own heart, you know, your own intuition. People have been asking me what to do with this eclipse. So what do I do? Do I do this or that? Well, tune into your heart, you know? Don't let the mind, you know, run amok.
Yeah.
Tune into your heart. Where are you being guided?
Yeah, exactly. For me, like I didn't know what I was gonna do during totality other than be, you know, the Leo in me has to, of course, make everything public, you know. So I had to do this show today, which has been just so much better than I could have even anticipated. It's just awesome, the people that are joining this.
How long have you
All of
been
you.
on? How long have you been
It's
on today?
I started at 1:40 Eastern, and I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
You get 4 hours with Instagram Live, so I'm gonna go all the way to 5:40 Eastern. But during it, I faced the camera just towards the sky, and for a while I was in meditation. For a while I was emitting light codes into the grid, and then during the totality, I just started going woo wee, woo wee, and just clapping, and other people in the neighborhood were clapping. People were setting off fireworks, which I thought was the coolest fucking thing. Like the thought to set off fireworks right in the totality, I thought was amazing. The geese were going crazy from the beach, which is about a mile and a half away. And so the Leo in me just came out. I just started being noisy and celebrating it essentially. So yeah, just celebrate, you know, experience it, whatever is your personality, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I was tuning into David Palmer's, he's in Texas now as well. And he was doing a live from there. And Yeah, as the totality was occurring, him and all the people around him were freaking out, and there was a group of females in the video, and they were all like, "We're virgins again," and it was like, and he was laughing. He was just like,
That's funny.
"You guys are
That
crazy."
is very funny. But that's what it feels like energetically. It feels like a cleansing. Again, I don't know what doors were closed energetically for me, but something was like just karma was cleared. I feel it for me, for this area, for the world, and I don't know exactly what, and I don't think we really know, other than we can trust that these lines and these timelines are clearing.
How do you feel about it, Rick? Do you think that this is like, is the slate clean? Is this a new book?
I think astrologers, I think two things simultaneously. Number one, I think that astrologers tend to always overinflate every event that happens into this is it, and
Oh,
nothing
but
like this is.
I never ever do that. I have to say, I've
Well,
never done that, and
I don't
yeah.
either. And then on the other hand, people who know me have heard me talk about my theory of the overinflated importance of the present moment. I mean, look, that's all there ever is, you know. And so, by that standpoint, from that perspective, this is the most amazing eclipse ever. You know,
Oh, hell
whenever
yeah.
you, if you're out to dinner and someone goes, "Oh, this is the best wine I ever had," that's proof of my theory of the overinflated importance of the present moment.
So
It's true. It works.
This is
I
this
mean,
is the best
it's
weed
what
I've ever
Buddhism is
had.
based on. It's be here now. And so, yes, I mean, in the teachings of Buddhism in Dzogchen, which is kind of like the pinnacle apartment in Vajrayana Buddhism, it's this idea that the only time enlightenment is ever available is in the present moment. You can't be enlightened tomorrow or yesterday. And so from that standpoint, there's something about that razor's edge of the present moment, speaking as, someone who owns or who rents over the legal limit of planets and Aries. Here's a real quickie for you. So my birthday was April 6th, so the eclipse is
Happy
conjunct my sun,
birthday,
happy
and
my
and
friend.
birthday.
and
Hugs.
and my sun is closely conjunct Venus, Mars, and Mercury, all at clustered
Yeah, that
from
is
you know from
definitely over the legal limit, sir.
Yeah.
all right, so but here's the thing. I posted on Instagram, and I know Gail is online listening, who's like my helper, assistant, silent partner in crime, in astrological
Oh,
crime.
hold
Um,
on, yeah.
but I posted a video on Instagram, and last night it went viral. I mean, like normally I have like a couple of Instagram accounts with like 10, 15,000, subscribers or, on each account. Not a huge big deal, but, that's what I do. This video right now has 280,000 views.
Yes, brother.
What the,
Yes.
what the fuck? I mean, the eclipse
Yeah.
hit my chart.
No,
Yeah.
I was gonna remark, like, this eclipse is like you.
Yes,
You know,
exactly.
you
I'm
this
currently seeing
eclipse is
someone
you in eclipse
who
form.
has the same transits. I'm currently close to someone whose birthday is this week as well, and I just see him expanding. And I mean, you really are leading the way for us as a collective.
Well,
We're all leading each
yeah,
other.
that's right.
Totally.
Thank you, Mac. As a collective, we're all leading the way.
We're
It
all
just
leading
looks
each other.
like,
And our aspects, our suns, our Mercury's, our Mars's, our what we're all
Exactly.
I'm injecting the Leo energy today into all this,
yeah,
and the Scorpio energy.
Right.
yeah.
And the Gemini energy.
There you go. Amazing. Rick, thank you so much. This has been just incredible. Like, I could talk to you for hours, and we're going to do a Stars Align episode very soon. We're going to do a
We
whole
will.
hour and a half. That's going to be fucking amazing. I can't wait.
All right.
Um,
I look forward to it, and between now and then, I got a bit of travels to do. So I will see you. I will see you then online.
am I going to
And
see you
love.
at Castaic Lake in June?
No,
Oh,
my
okay.
June is booked up. I'm lecturing at Omega Institute in New York, and then
Amazing.
up in Boston. No, busy.
When are
So
you at
have
Omega?
fun, huh?
When are you at Omega?
The weekend of June 7th, 8th, and 9th, I'm there
Okay, gotcha.
with Lynn Bell and Maurice Fernandez.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Love
it's
them.
going to be a great weekend, and lovely to meet
Lovely
you.
meeting
And
you. Thank you so much.
I'll see you
And
all.
your website, Rick?
Rick Levine Astrologer. www.ricklevine. Well, like Adam Apollo said,
Google
if
me.
you go online and Google Rick Levine and you can't find me, you don't deserve to have a computer.
And look,
Goodbye.
this is how you know you've made it in life, when you can actually, like, in social situations, say,
Yeah,
Google me
just
Yeah,
Google me.
yeah. All
or
right,
DuckDuckGo me, if you will.
Google me, baby. All right, I'll see you
Yeah.
guys.
Aloha. Thank
Rick,
you.
Aloha.
blessings. Thank you. Thank you. Jacqueline, Astrologer Babe, you are an awesome
Aw,
astrologer. I'm so grateful to have you on.
it's so good
And
to be
just
here.
give me your overall just kind of vibe around the astrology of this eclipse. As we were talking about with Rick and Adam, we've got Chiron essentially exactly conjunct this eclipse,
Right.
and we've got Jupiter and Uranus starting to get pretty close to one another, cozy up in Taurus. So, and of course, we can't forget about coming off of the Libra eclipse and still being under the energy of that,
Totally.
and the fusion, the synthesis of the Libra lunar and the Aries solar, which are, obviously 180 degrees apart, but we're trying to find that middle road between the two. So what's your overall kind of analysis of all this?
Yeah, thank you for asking, and thank you so much for having me on. I think that
Absolutely.
what
Yeah.
you've
Thanks for
created,
coming.
this container that you've created today, is so fun, and
Amazing. I'm glad you're
what an
enjoying
honor
it.
to be
Yeah.
on here with Rick Levine. I mean, that's just, my mind's already like, ah.
Great. Yeah. He's the best.
He is, yeah. So thank you. And personally, I'm super stoked for this one. I think this is the energy that we've been praying on, waiting for quite a while. We've
Yeah.
really been craving this new energy. I know I have personally been feeling super stagnant energetically ever since the Venus retrograde in Leo. Just all of that energy and all of that chaos. That we did all of that healing that we've done so far with the heart. And then now coming into this Aries eclipse, having it conjunct Chiron. I know you guys have been talking all day about just the epic amounts of healing that is required as a being on the planet right now. And so I think having that, and then also with Mars and Saturn coming together in a day or two, there's this energy.
Yes, that
We're
too.
in and being in the
That
year,
too.
I mean, being in the year of the dragon as well.
That
I get
Piscean
this,
energy we can't forget about.
yeah.
And it's opening up, windows and doors to like Adam was talking so much about the other realms and traveling other realms, and the fact that we can lean on, and we need to remember that we can lean on our abilities as light workers to reach out to our guides, to spirits, extraterrestrials, to
Right.
whoever, right, to be able to get assistance with, because there's a lot of heavy energy to navigate now, a lot of emotional energy, angry energy, violent energy,
Oh yeah, with this,
because of the Aries, right?
right. Exactly. So I think, yes, you're spot on with the age of Pisces coming to a close and the amount of time that it's taking for these transits and natural cycles to close over the next 2 or 3 years. We're going to start to see, obviously, we've had these earthquake tremors on the planet, especially
I
with
was in an
Jupiter.
earthquake in New Jersey on
My
Friday.
parents,
That was wild.
my parents still live there.
Yeah.
And I'm from Jersey. We've
You
talked about this.
are. Oh
Yeah.
my God, what a synchronicity.
Yeah, so
What part?
many. I'm from Monmouth County. I'm from the Red Bank, Middletown area.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and
Amazing.
what part are you from?
No, I'm in Rochester, but
Oh,
I'm from Long Island originally. But I was in Jersey this past weekend for a spiritual expo, the Heart of Oneness Holistic Expo, which is awesome.
that's
But
right.
Friday, I was woken up. I was still asleep, 10:23 a.m., and the whole bed was shaking like this. The whole hotel room. I was on the top floor of the hotel. The whole room was shaking. I'm like, whoa! Like I knew immediately it was an earthquake, and I was like, this is
Right.
wild.
Wow, that's so crazy. Maui had a small tremor at the beginning of 2021. I do recall it felt like someone was breaking into my bedroom window,
Yeah.
and it happened to be like a minor tremor on Maui. But yeah, I do think that especially with Jupiter and Uranus coming together in Taurus in this Earth, very, earthy energy, that we're going to see mass shifts on the planet occurring. And so it's exciting, but it's also like, okay, no matter what's going on, we're going to move with the times. We're going to do our best to participate and choose to be here on the planet. And if we're here, we're still here.
Yeah,
It's important that we're here.
exactly. Do you have any specific, just for fun, completely
Sure.
for fun, do you have any specific predictions of anything to come the rest of 2024? We've just, began an astrological new year,
Right.
whether good things or not so good things. I'm okay with either.
Yeah, well, I think, I've been talking with others like ourselves and analyzing this and having fun with these interpretations and these predictions. And the themes that continuously come up are elements of war, obviously, because
War, yeah,
we
yeah,
had our North Node in
yeah,
Aries over the past, 18
yeah.
months. So we've seen, these blips on the radar of elements of war. So definitely, especially come September, October, when we have that full moon in Libra, kind of matching this eclipse. I do think that we're going to see, especially around the elections and all of that, we're going to see just, I think, crazy shifts with how politics goes and war. Definitely earthquakes, definitely
Yeah, I would agree. Those
tsunamis.
are the main things I was predicting in the beginning of this year: war, earthquakes, volcanoes this year.
Right. And then also, like with the politics stuff, what's interesting and what's been coming up for me as well is like the repetition of the cycles regarding the Kennedys and Robert Kennedy kind of coming onto, the forum and the things like that with the revolution of the 60s and, all of these Renaissance like energies that are coming through. I do feel like it's an exciting
Yeah,
time.
and look, Kennedy's not gonna like be the president, but his influence and just what anytime anyone runs and has a bit of a following as he has, there's an influence because it makes people think on both sides of the
Right.
aisle. It makes people think.
Yeah. And that's fun. And I think I'm super grateful that he's running at all.
Yeah,
I think it's a great
I'll give
nod
him
to,
my vote.
yeah,
I
it's
love that he's running.
and
You know,
then it's been interesting to analyze as well. Like, do you know Mike the Peace Dealer? I was on his YouTube channel recently, and we were chatting about how President Trump is like double Gemini, and uh, how Gemini can be very much connected to being a messenger of truth, despite the fact that he's totally like off the cuff and like oftentimes like
let
completely out.
let's not go in that
We won't
direction. Just
go in
with
that
all due respect.
direction. But
Okay.
anyway, I do think that it's a really wonderful time for us to recognize that there is a divinity going on. There is a strength and a beautiful power that's, guiding us on this incredible journey. And I think that things are going to get more and more galactic for us. Like, I really feel like the just the positivity around the awakening of recognizing that astrology has some truth in the world now, and how people are waking up more and more to the importance of the guidance of the lunar cycles and just how it influences us, I think is very exciting. I just think that all of this is just going to continue to become more of a positive thing in the world arena that can
Amazing.
bring us together. Yeah.
Amazing. And for people individually, what can you what advice can you give just in general for navigating the next
Oh,
month here?
I just really believe in like getting quiet and really listening to your own inner voice and really standing by that no matter what what you're experiencing. Like if people are challenging you, it's a good sign to me that you're on the right path. I just think it's a really beautiful time for us to harness the exact frequency of who we are in the world. So if you feel guided to, become more creative and share your gifts, whether it be through art or, speaking or just whatever it is that you're inherently here to do, I think really getting deeper on that connection of self and shining and radiating it out into the world, no matter what's being reflected back to you, is really what's required right now.
Amazing. Amazing. Jacqueline, where can people find you?
Yeah, you guys can follow me at on Instagram at Astrologer Babe, and also I'm not gonna follow what everybody else has said. You can Google me, but you can find me at www.astrologerbabe.com.
Amazing. Amazing. Jacqueline, so much. Thank you so much. I
Yeah,
really appreciate you coming
thanks for
on and sharing your
having
wisdom.
me. Thank you so
Amazing.
much. It's great to
Thank
talk
you.
to you. Aloha.
Aloha. Okay, so we are going to have next, I think Samantha Toon, but we may have a special impromptu guest. For the record, because this will also be on YouTube, I can assure you that Mr. Trump is not in any way, shape, or form any sort of messenger of truth. He's the farthest possible messenger of truth. But with all due respect to people's political beliefs, including the previous guest. Okay, let's see who is going to come on next. And in the meantime, if anyone has any questions or comments, what has your day been like? What has your experience of today been like? It's been pretty awesome from my end. And I want to hear, where are you? What's been going on in your part of the country or the world? And what are you thinking about this eclipse? I'm happy to hear. And I have a couple, um, well, Sir Arto Matt, look, I'm not going to go along with all the bullshit out there from most of the New Age community. I'm going to tell you the truth. But I do love Jacqueline Astrologer Babe. I just, look, I have a lot of friends with a lot of different political affiliations. And just because people have different political beliefs, affiliations, it doesn't mean we can't be friends and we can't share love and joy and guidance with each other. So it is what it is. Okay, let's do a Q&A while I'm waiting for another guest to join. And I'm just going to see who I can get. I had a couple of possibilities for this hour, but I'm going to get someone on. Don't worry. I got this awesome shirt off of Amazon. Again, this is the Leo in me, right? I love this. So yeah, I got it. Can you believe that? I got off Amazon with Prime delivery. um, Questions about anything, and I'm going to stay on until we got 30 more minutes until Instagram kicks us off. I think we have Nikki Leigh coming on soon, so let me try to get her. So while we're waiting for our next guest, which I think is Nikki Leigh, just any questions, comments? I like someone commented before that I look like glowing after the eclipse. I really feel like it was a healing. Again, I just, I was already pretty sure of this, but now I'm completely sure. Do not be afraid of eclipses. Do not avoid eclipses. They really are a wonderful experience. And again, the energy was really heavy leading into it, and then uplifting right after. And it just feels like this very clear, uplifted and uplifting energy afterwards. Okay, let me know where you guys are from while we're waiting for our next guest. if it pauses for a moment, it's because I'm texting Nikki Leigh, seeing if she can come on. This has been so cool. Oh my God, Adam Apollo, what an amazing man he is. I cannot wait to get him for a full episode of The Stars Align, because oh my God, the type of stuff he's innovating, it's literal out of this world sort of technology that he's a steward for here on the planet. And Rick Levine, oh my God, the way that he's able to merge the interpretations of Western Vedic with numerology and with understanding sacred geometry, he's one of the brightest men. Adam Apollo and Rick Levine are two of the brightest men I've ever encountered in my life. They're so incredibly intelligent. There she is. All right, let's get her on. Nikki, can you hit request to join? There she is. All right, here we go. We got our 5:15 guest, Nikki Leigh.
Hey!
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi.
How are you?
Wonderful. It's been such an incredible day. Got to experience Totality here in Rochester.
Wow.
One of the wildest experiences of my entire life. Absolutely unforgettable. I'm still glowing from it, as you can see.
I know. He looks so elated. I love it.
I am. It's so hard to describe how. Have you been in an eclipse before, Totality?
I don't think so. What is that exactly?
Totality is when it goes completely dark.
Oh.
It becomes nighttime.
Like, have I been alive during one?
No, like, have you been underneath one and seen it go completely dark?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
What about Libra's last year? Does that count?
No. So the last one was 2017. 2017,
no.
We had a total solar eclipse that went. The track of it was more across the west, right? This one was more across the east. The next one that we have in the United States, we have to wait all the way till 2044. August 23rd, 2044. So if you're not busy that day, we can find a way. We can connect in the path of totality.
Heck yeah. Oh my gosh. No, unfortunately, I'm not able to be in any of the areas of the West that they will be seeing the solar eclipse. I'm so bummed, but.
Well, let me tell you a little bit of the experience. So, okay. It started right now. It's finally back to basically full light because we just exited the end of the partial eclipse. So about an hour and a half before the totality, it was like this. It slowly started getting a little bit dimmer like it would in the evening. Okay. The temperature really started to drop. I started off the live in just a t-shirt like this with this underneath, and I had to put a jacket on. Oh my. Okay. And then right near the totality, it was like a sunset that happened all in 5 minutes. Yeah. It got rapidly dark. It became completely dark like nighttime. All of the backyard and the garage lights, the automatic lights came on. People started letting off fireworks. Planes were going by, and you could see the actual lights on the plane. It was literal nighttime. Wow. The birds got very quiet. We could hear all of the geese from the beach, which is about 1.5 miles away, going crazy. So you heard the fireworks, you heard the geese. It was a very odd, still energy. And then after about 3 minutes, the sun started rising again. It was the wildest experience. It was like a sunrise that occurred all within 5 minutes. And it rapidly got lighter and lighter. The temperature started rapidly rising. Oh my God. And then over the next 40 minutes, it felt like, it went from like 7 a.m. all the way to like noon within 40 minutes time. Wow. It was experiencing an entire day within a day. Very disorienting. Like afterwards, everyone, we were all sharing and our dogs, we're all like, what just happened? Very disorienting. Wow. It now finally feels like it's back to a normal day. But it was an unforgettable experience, and I'm so grateful to be in the path. It was incredible.
Sounds so beautiful.
So, wow. If you ever get a chance, 20 years from now, 2044, or if you're ever in Europe for the next one,
I highly recommend.
Yeah,
So
I
you're
love that.
amazing. And you're in
Yeah,
Montana now?
yeah. So I'm like nowhere near.
No, this is this was this
I
track.
even left LA, so I even like went further
Yeah.
away.
But there was a little bit. Did you get to look at all with the eclipse glasses to see the partial?
You know, I've never owned a pair of Eclipse glasses,
Okay,
so I have no idea. But
that's okay.
yeah, I have no idea. But I've shown up the best I can wherever location I'm at for any of these things. Actually, the one in the eclipse in Libra, which was it was like the end of last year, right?
Yeah, so we had an eclipse in Libra 2 weeks ago. That was a lunar. We had a solar eclipse in Libra last October.
Yes. So that one, I like waited and waited, and I couldn't necessarily look, because I didn't have the glasses.
Yeah, you
But
gotta have
luckily,
the
I know.
glasses.
Luckily, though, I went on a walk like while it was happening, and there was a guy who posted up with his amazing camera and caught the entire thing on his camera.
Yeah.
So he got to show me like the whole thing. So I saw it just like, almost in real time, just about, but
Amazing.
through a camera lens. So, but I felt very blessed to even experience
we
that.
had these left over from 2017, but we didn't have to use them at all today because it was complete cloud cover all day. So it was a bit disappointing. Didn't get to see the interaction between the sun and the moon.
Oh, you didn't?
But no, because it's cloudy. But the cool thing is because of that, we couldn't really anticipate when it was about to get dark.
True.
So it was just kind of the surrender experience of just being outside and like everyone in the neighborhood sitting outside on their front lawns or their backyards, like not really knowing when it was, and then just out of nowhere, just like that.
Yeah, then you knew.
Dark.
You're like, oh, we're here.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the wildest experience.
Oh, wow.
And energetically, it feels very clearing. It feels like a cleansing from the universe. Like the energy was very heavy, very dense leading into the eclipse. And then on the other side of it, it's like, whew, like crystal clear.
Oh, that's
like everything feels new, renewed.
Oh, that's so
really
nice.
Cool experience.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to 2044. I'll plan
Exactly. We'll start planning.
Exactly.
like in Steinfeld when Newman and Kramer are planning their millennial party like 4 years in advance.
I love it. Hey, you gotta prep.
Exactly. Nikki, you're starting to become a little more, I know you know a little bit about astrology. You're starting to become a little more familiar after, filming The Stars Align with me, and we got deep into it, right?
Yeah.
What do you know about Aries? This is an eclipse in Aries.
That's funny. So Aries is not selfishly, it's not on one of my, like, it's not my moon, it's not my sun, it's not my rising. So I don't know a ton about Aries. But I do know, right, that this new moon solar eclipse is in Aries.
This is
right?
in Aries, and it's very exalted. So Aries is a very intense, active, masculine. It's the fire energy. It's Aries this is how best to describe Aries. Okay. It's a lighter. And that's why Aries is the initiator of the zodiac wheel. We start the astrological new year on the vernal equinox, the first degree of Aries, and then we go around the wheel. Well, this way we go around the wheel, right? So yeah, Aries is that very strong masculine starter energy. So you are a wonderful, so many things, actress, model, wellness inspirer. I want to focus on the latter. Just downloading anything through your intuition right now. What would be some good advice, practices, just for self-care, especially considering this Aries energy is about the self. It's about how can we refine and work with and improve the self.
Oh yeah. Well, I think if you're gonna work with the self, you have to start with the self. And starting with the self, you have to listen to yourself. You have to understand what you want, right? What are your desires? I think a really nice exercise to do is like just be able to sit in silence and start thinking, just, have the question like, what do I love? Or what do I desire in my future? Because like you just said in this soul, like with this total eclipse, you feel renewed, right? So
Yeah.
this is an opportunity to be completely new.
Yes.
You can internally start a new you. And in order to do that, I think you have to always have a goal. You always have to know where you're going. When you drive in your car, you're not just
Yep.
kind of driving around, right? Like
Right.
you're like, I got a destination. So you want to at least figure out a destination, and it can be, honestly, so I'm a Virgo, so I'm going to be
Yes.
like, oh my God, like, how do I do it right and wrong, right? That's
Right,
the old
and
me.
everything very
That's the
step by
old me.
step.
That
is
was
what
that was
Virgo.
pre-eclipse.
Yeah.
How's that? And
Yeah.
so I am just going to be like, you know what? What do I want right now? Or it can be, what do I want? Even like, what do I want tonight? You know,
Yeah.
like tonight, I want to go to bed early because I want to be well rested when I wake up and I go and shoot a movie tomorrow. So it's like, or what do I want by the end of this week?
Yes.
And or month. Like you can do whatever
Goal
time.
oriented. And
Yes.
that is a lesson of Aries and Virgo, being very goal oriented
Mhm.
rather than, you know, what's before Aries is Pisces, and Pisces is the ultimate go with the flow, no plans. That's how my mom is. Aries is no, I'm going to actually plan things out and follow through.
Yeah. And I think it's time. I think this is a perfect time while we're in that energy and that influence, to really go through those steps. So finding out really what we want and make it fun.
Yeah.
Make it fun for you. Make it relaxing because it's supposed to be self-care.
Yes.
So please don't think of it as so rigorous and rigid. And I'm saying this to all of you because I need to hear it too.
Yes, we always
it's-
do that. I do that
yeah.
too. Yes.
It's totally something I need to hear. So this is all
Yeah.
like self-advice
Yeah.
right now too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, you know, set an intention. Not only is this like an eclipse that is, you know, for goals, but this is also a perfect time, new moon, for actual goal setting. Like this is what you do on a new moon. So it's going to it all encompasses to like, what do we want? And take that time. I think I keep looking at my tarot reads and listening to any download I have. All of it keeps screaming rest.
Yeah. All right. So you draw cards for yourself?
I do, and I follow a couple people on YouTube that have been really like speaking to me, and yeah, and every one of them has just kept saying rest and
you get the
surrender and let go.
You get 4 swords at all?
No, I got the 9 of swords.
Yeah.
At one point.
Yeah. 9 of swords can be overwhelmed in the mind.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sounds like
needing to find ways for respite from the busyness of the mind, which me as a Virgo moon, we talked about this when we filmed our Stars Align episode. I totally understand, because that could be, if I'm not careful like this. That's why for me, like real physical, real world experiences like today, like holy shit, I will never ever forget today because of the experience of being in the total solar eclipse. And it's just all the senses are right. And we need that. We need that break from the mind, whether it's through meditation, a bath, you know, whether it's through a massage, you know, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Treating ourselves.
Yes. Don't be afraid of that. Me and a bunch of my co-stars were just talking about today, because there's a line in our movie about like, oh, you're so selfish. But that was from one person's perspective. And we started talking about the word selfish and how when you're being raised, at least most of us, our parents were always like, oh, don't do that. Don't eat all that, you know,
Right.
Save some for others. Don't be so selfish, you know?
Yeah.
And so we were taught to disregard our own self-love, our own, like what we need as an individual. And it's like time for everyone to start realizing that you can't put out all the greatness that you want in the world if you haven't fed yourself, you know, if you haven't taken care of yourself. So it's really about, like, don't think of it as an act of selfishness, and like make sure you realize that pampering yourself is for the good of other people too. So if that's what drives you to do things, is like, you know, you do things for your family all the time, or you do things for your partner or your best friends, like you're always doing for others and giving back, really understand that giving to yourself, taking that bath or taking that nap or taking that meditation or, you know, excusing yourself and going for that walk that you really wanted to do in the middle of your workday that you were so crazed for. Like taking these breaks and doing whatever you want is actually giving to the world, to giving to the collective, because your energy is getting stronger, is getting more in the place of love and energized by that, and you're able to exude that and affect others. So I think like,
Yeah.
yes.
And this is exactly like everything you're talking about. This is exactly the interplay between Aries and Libra that we're experiencing during this particular eclipse portal. Aries is the self, the ascendant, the first house. Libra is about other. It's the descendant, it's the seventh house, and we're, you know, the focus before this eclipse, after the last Libra eclipse, was about how do we rework our close relationships, right? Our close relationships that have some sort of discordance going on in them. Okay, and now it turns to, all right, how do I self-care? And then after that, it really becomes, how do I synthesize and integrate that and find a middle road between Aries and Libra, between the first house, the seventh house, etc. And this is like really the essence of the entire zodiac wheel, being, you know, the Eastern Hemisphere, the left side being the self, and the Western Hemisphere, the right side being the other. And we're trying to blaze this middle path. And an eclipse has a really, it will affect us for 6 months. And beyond that, actually, because whatever codes are downloaded, whatever happens during the eclipse is going to shape our lives going forward. But when you talk about like planning things out and setting intentions, like really you should think about at least 6 months ahead. And wait, you know, today is like not the best day to be super clear about where we're going. Today is more about the experience and the energy and the self-care. But starting over the next couple of days, write down, you know, as many intentions for the next 6 months as you can come up with. Do a scripting exercise. It's a law of attraction exercise where you're writing a letter to yourself or a journal entry 6 months from now or a year from now about how great everything went. This is the time to do it because of this Aries energy.
Really? Okay, I love that. Can you explain a little bit more in detail a scripting?
Yeah.
Because I think that's really cool.
Yeah. It's a great exercise I give to my Ascending as One group, and I do myself. Okay, so what I would do is I would say, I'm going to write a, you know, if you have a journal, this is great. Or if not, just you can put it in a prominent place in your office or your bedroom, etc. But I'm going to say, okay, make up a date. Well, we could do the end of the year. We could say January 1st, 2025.
Okay.
Oh my God, you know, so excited celebrating the new year with blank. Like, who do you want to be celebrating it with, right? The last year was just so incredible. This happened and this happened. I'm so grateful. That was so cool. Oh my God, I can't believe that happened. But be very specific about it. So scripting, you're essentially writing a future journal entry or a letter to yourself even, or you can even write a letter to someone else and, you know, you don't send it,
right,
about how great the future went. And you will be amazed at how effective. This is one of the key exercises I give to people when I teach the law of attraction type stuff, is scripting.
And now do you get, so when you're writing all of this, where do you get your, you know, the things that you would say you're excited about? Like, you know, I went on this trip. Like where do you get these? Yeah, where do you get these things? Like, are
From
they
your desires,
from your
desires. It's as simple as that.
Mm.
If you think, like, if you ask yourself the question, this is the way I would ask it. If I could script my next 6 months or my next year exactly how I would want it to go, how would it go? And then you backwards, you know, you kind of look backwards as if it's the future and write it in past tense that it already happened. That's very powerful for the subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind can't actually tell a difference between whether that actually happened or you just wrote it. So to the subconscious mind, and the thing is, once you write the scripting journal entry or letter to yourself, read it like once a week to yourself. And if you read it, and if you want to even amplify it more, put emotion into it. Oh my God, that trip I took to, you know, Turks and Caicos, was fucking amazing. It was so much better than I could have ever imagined. I met this person and she was there and he was there. And oh my God, we did this thing. And the emotion mixed with the words, Virgo's the words, right? Aries or Sagittarius or Leo, that's the fire, that's the emotion. You merge the two, the air and the fire. That's where you get manifestation.
Yeah. Nice. That's going to be a really fun exercise. I hope everyone does it on here for sure.
Yeah.
I saw some people saying that's great. I'm going to do it. So we'll all be doing it together.
Absolutely. And, you know, like reality is so malleable. We're not taught this in school. We're not taught this anywhere until we start to encounter the self-help world or the spiritual or the new age world, etc. Right? We're kind of taught through television and just the way that our parents were, because they come from the, you know, an older generation, that like life is just the way it is, you know. Oh, you were raised this way, it's always going to be like this. You're raised in poverty, you're always going to be in poverty. You know, you're sick, you're right. We get this sense that things are just kind of rigid and solid, right? But that's not the truth of reality. Reality is malleable to an amazing extent. And it takes, the first part is you have to believe. If you don't believe in your ability to shift your life dramatically, then you definitely won't. And then the second step is it's the repetition. You have to reteach your subconscious a new reality. I've done this in my life, so I know this works 1,000%. You literally completely shift the direction of your life through, and it's repetition. You have to continue to feed yourself the positive future that you want. And inevitably the thoughts and the doubts will come up. That's inevitable, but you just don't give them as much attention and power, and you just keep turning to the positive.
Yeah. Just keep reading your scribed letter.
Yeah. And that's a great thing. And just in general, just, you know, the way we speak to ourselves. So a lot of us, you know, especially that's a lesson of Virgo, a lot of us have very noisy minds, right? And right. And but if we remember that it doesn't actually matter, and it doesn't actually have an effect on us unless we let it.
That's true.
And this is the essence of like basic meditation. And what are we doing? We're focusing our attention on the breath, so that the noisy mind, we just let it be. It can be like trains going down a train track, or cars going down a highway, or planes going through the sky, or clouds. Just let it be. Just let it go by. And then during meditation, it's not actually having any effect on us. And then we also then realize it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
It's just all noise, right? So the words we speak out loud have so much more power than the thoughts in our head. So if we remember to speak to ourselves positively and speak about ourselves positively to others, that's so important. Mirror work is very powerful. Just talking to yourself in the mirror. You know, how many people out there, you know, have ever tried literally as simple as just in the mirror saying, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Like, for most of us, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that shows us that we're, you know, how there's a disconnect of even receiving love from others. If you can't truly receive love from yourself, how can you truly receive love from others?
Very
right?
True. Yeah. Very true. Yeah. I always love walking by a mirror and high-fiving myself.
Yeah, I do that. I high five
It's
myself.
so
I
much
high five
fun.
my spirit guides. You know,
Yeah.
hugging yourself in the mirror, like I love you, like everything's good. You're
So,
okay.
yeah,
You're doing
so
good.
that's actually something I learned, just how to like self-soothing. And
Yeah.
one of the things was the like putting your hands on each shoulder, so crisscrossing in front and going up and down, and self-soothing. And when I first heard that, I was like, okay, like sure, it sounds nice. But I actually did it one time when I was feeling out of sorts, and there's this like energy that swirls in and just kind of hugs you tight, and I was like, whoa, that was
There's a neurological
beautiful.
basis for it, because anytime we're crossing the meridians with our arms or our legs, then we're integrating the left and the right brain. It's basically creating a more coherent connection in our brain, and also, and when you're doing this around your heart chakra, you're
Oh,
also creating a coherent brain-heart
cool.
connection.
I didn't even think
So
about
it
it
absolutely
like
works neurologically.
that. It
Yeah,
totally.
that's a good reminder. I haven't done this in years, so thank you for reminding me.
You're so welcome. It is the best.
Oh, thank you. You are too.
Yeah.
Nikki, amazing. Unfortunately, Instagram's gonna end my live, I
Oh,
think, in about 7 minutes because I'm gonna hit the 4-hour mark. So
oh, go good for you
I'm
being on
gonna
that long.
I'm gonna do a closing. But Nikki, just where can people find you?
Oh yeah. I mean, Miss Nikki Leigh. I mean,
Exactly,
I'm
right,
sure it's
right here
like,
at
yeah.
Instagram.
And check out
Yeah.
our podcast episode
Yes, check out
on
the
Matthew
Stars
John's thing.
Align
Uh-huh.
with myself and Nikki Leigh. That's on my YouTube channel, Matthew John.
Yes.
And Nikki, any announcements about movies or anything?
I mean, I'm filming one right now, but I don't have any coming out just yet. I have a bunch
Okay.
in post-production, so just keep on the lookout. I'll let
All
you know
right.
when anything happens.
We
But
will.
yeah, thank you for having me on, and happy solar eclipse, everybody. Yay.
Thank you for coming on. Yeah, this is wonderful.
Yeah, I'm
Amazing.
glad I could make it. It was just perfect timing, so I was like, I'm
Beautiful.
coming. Yeah,
It always is.
definitely.
It
All right, y'all, have a
always is
good one.
perfect
Have a
timing.
nice closing.
Thank you. Blessings. Thank you, Nikki.
Bye.
Nikki Leigh's the best. I love her. She's amazing. She's amazing. Oh my God. I cannot believe that we're about to get to the end of this. So yeah, there's a 4-hour time limit for Instagram. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we started at about 1:42, if I'm not mistaken. So I think we're gonna get kicked off here in about 4 or 5 minutes. But last minute comments. I hope you guys enjoyed this. What a lineup we had. Myself, Alan Steinfeld, John Burgos, Adam Apollo, Rick Levine, Astrologer Babe, Nikki Leigh. Hope I didn't forget anyone. But that was just awesome. That was just awesome. Today went like so much better than I could have ever imagined. The eclipse itself was awesome. I am buzzing. This was just a wonderful day. Just a wonderful day. So, while I'm just going to literally go until Instagram just cuts us off. But anyone have any questions, comments? How has your eclipse experience been? What, or your take? Was anyone else in totality? Was anyone else besides me in totality today? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know what your experience was. And my experience of totality was unforgettable. The whole day was just unforgettable. Amazing. And I just feel so much clearer than before the eclipse. It really is a massive, it's a blessing. With all due respect to the Hindus, it's an absolute blessing to be under a total solar eclipse. It absolutely is. And I'm just so grateful that I got to be a part of it. And I'm so grateful for all the fun friends that joined. So, last chance. We've got about probably 4 minutes here before Instagram kicks us off. Questions, comments in closing. Again, check out the new Stars Align episode with Nikki Leigh. I have a new Stars Align episode dropping this week as well, with a very, 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 very special guest that I'm so excited to introduce my audience to. You're gonna absolutely love it, and it's a little bit different than some of the other guests I've had on, but incredible, incredible, incredible. Last minute questions, comments. Do you enjoy your eclipse day? Funny thing is the sun just kind of came out now, so it would have been nice early if it was a little earlier. But honestly, with the cloud cover, it was just still a remarkable experience, because it to just not know, really, like you weren't able to see when the sun and the moon were about to cross paths, and it was kind of a surrender experience, just surrendering to what the gods of the sky had planned for us. So, any last minute questions, comments before I wrap up? Gonna wrap up in about 2 or 3 minutes here. Last minute questions, comments. Make sure you're following me. Okay. If you enjoyed today, if you enjoyed this content, make sure you're following me. I do lots of fun stuff on Instagram. Subscribe to my YouTube channels. Okay. Matthew John. Just type in Matthew John on YouTube. You'll see Matthew John, spiritual teacher and healer. That is my channel. That's where you can find the Stars Align episode with Nikki Leigh. And Higher Self. That's where, and make sure you subscribe to the Higher Self channel, because tonight I will be posting my Aries new moon eclipse astrological interpretation, my astrology podcast called Matthew John's moon updates, moon astrology updates. That will be posted on the Higher Self channel on YouTube. So 2 YouTube channels, Higher Self and Matthew John, spiritual teacher. All right, everyone. Well, we're just about up to that 4-hour mark. So I will bid everyone farewell. Hope you all had a wonderful eclipse day. I thank everyone for joining. We had hundreds and hundreds of people join today. It was a really great live audience. And if you want to watch the replay, I will be posting this on YouTube shortly. So you can look forward to watching the entire live replay, including the totality experience itself on YouTube soon. All right, everyone. Namaste. Blessings. Happy Eclipse Day. Happy Astrological New Year. We're not that far from that as well. And just happiness, blessings, joy, love, peace. I hope that I'm wishing and intending that you manifest all of your dreams and desires, and you be in peace and joy. So thank you, everyone, again. Namaste.